starts. Let me go pee first. Ah, God damn it!
Get bishwhacked. All right. So on
go
that
take a
note,
piss. Bye,
bro. Phil, bro. First it was Phil, but now this is good for Phil and Mitchell. I just fucking posted it.
all right. Hello, everyone. If you can hear my cat in the background, she has decided that I must give her attention right now and immediately, and I have told her to frankly piss off because I am recording. So I apologize for that. But welcome back to Lorecast Eternals. I am Phil.
I am Jacob.
Mitchell just ran screaming out of the room, and today we're doing a bonus episode, and we invited our friend from the Discord. On Discord, his name is Elmsword, but he also goes by Isaac when he chooses to be a normal human being.
Only on occasion.
This is the he is the winner from the contest, the Champion of Champions contest, so to speak, where we took all the winners from the previous contest and had them all, fight each other to the death in my basement.
Yep. I mean, Mabel gave me the hardest thing, and but eventually I just tamped her down.
Yep.
But
yep.
Hi, my name is Mitchell.
There we go. Now he's back.
Seriously though, shout out Mabel because like her diorama scared the ever living shit out of me, and the fact that it was so freaking good.
Where it was so.
Oh, the lighting on it was amazing.
Oh my god.
Dude,
yeah. When she submitted it, I literally like texted her like as soon as it happened. I was like, bam.
GG.
Yeah, bam, GG. Like that is incredible.
To everyone listening to the episode, like once again, like a shout out to everyone who competed. Y'all all did a fantastic job, and if any of y'all will win, I forget if we decided if they could compete again for the next year in the contest champions, but
I don't see why not.
Once I look at those rules of my own fucking podcast, the Discord server, because like I totally know them off the back of my hand because I'm a intelligent human who doesn't forget things.
Totally a professional.
Yep, 100%. If
we here at Lorecast Eternals absolutely know what the fuck we're doing.
100%, we are not a gigantic raging dumpster fire, I promise. But if they compete again, I look forward to seeing what type of fire things they drop next because it was all really, really good.
Oh, I already have ideas.
That's what we like to hear.
Better get to fucking hobbying then.
Yeah. On that note, Isaac, you are now banned from ever competing again.
Yeah, get fucked.
Oh, that's a massive weight off my shoulders now.
Over here, like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, thank God I have free time and I can spend it at the gym.
Oh, fucking.
Oh yeah, that mythical place that like allegedly exists.
I need to go to the gym.
I was actually proud of myself. I actually got a full leg day over the weekend, and I haven't been able to walk properly since. I think I came back home and
tell you know it was good.
Yeah, I went to take off my shoes and I just collapsed on the floor. My wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
It's like I've lost feeling below my waist.
Exactly. I was like,
I know the feeling. Yesterday was the first time I was actually able to like give it almost my all while playing hockey, like in 6 months, and I hurt today, but like in the good way, but it's not like the I'm gonna cry when I sneeze. This is like, oh, I'm sore.
Yeah,
but this is a good sore.
Every time you move, oh yeah, you go.
I was saying, are these your like, oops, I didn't know I had like hernias for 2 months injuries we're talking about?
Yeah.
Or like, what, it was like a disconnected muscle or something like that?
Oh no, so I ripped on both sides of my hips, my lower and upper abductors.
I want to know, like, how
excuse you, that's your superior and inferior abductors.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Phil, we are not going to be dealing with that shit. Just because you have your fancy medical book now, we don't need to be talking about the asshole linguini and all that shit.
I am burdened by knowledge. Yeah, I'm having to take anatomy and physiology class this semester, and the entire first class was just, how do you describe the body? And I'm like, I don't need to know how to describe this disgusting piece of shit. I just need to know how to work on technology.
But yeah, no, for 5 months, those were both like just absolutely molared. So physical therapy helped a lot, but now I'm actually able to like play, and I cry at the moment because like I'm just tired, boss.
Everything hurts. Want to die.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I think soreness, fatigue, just like simultaneously hurts but also feels good every time you move after
Yep.
it, and it's a very weird
Oh, I
feeling.
get that. I get that.
Yeah.
When
Well, I
I was
It's
mean-
like a
under the
satisfaction to it. You're just like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
earned this.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
there's a certain type of energy you feel after you go to the gym where it's like, man, I hurt and I kind of want to die, but like I feel good about it.
Yeah, like I feel like I accomplished something that day, even if I did like nothing else other than like that and dishes. Like I'm like, yes, I have done something.
Whatever
man, I need
gets
to do
you
some
through
dishes.
the day. Fucking yeah, me too. Jesus.
I don't know. When
Man.
Philip says he needs to do dishes, that's impressive.
That's when you know that like there's he can no longer see the floor in his room.
I mean,
Oh Lord.
the area around my chair is clear.
That's all that matters.
Philip, is there a biochemical chocolate milk bomb in your fridge this go around?
Philip is
No.
cultivating garden gnomes in his fucking closet or something.
Is there an onion like 3 feet tall in your fridge?
Oh my god, I did have one of those. Yeah, I had forgotten about that.
Fuck Christ, my
Well, no,
guy.
because I'd throw an onion into like a small container in my fridge that it kind of blended into the fridge, so I'd forgotten about it. And then like 3 months later, I noticed something like coming out of the container, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I opened it, and there's an onion that's grown to be like 2 feet long inside of there, and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh no.
Nah, you guys don't understand. Phil's just practicing a new modernized type of indoor gardening.
Exactly.
Fair. Like screw
100%.
hydroponics. We're just gonna grow things in the refrigerator.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
just getting ready for space travel.
All right. So, Isaac, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and get a little bit back on topic, shall we? Isaac,
Why
how
would we do
did
that?
you get into Warhammer?
So, Warhammer or models? Because those are two separate.
Let's start with just Warhammer.
Okay. So yeah. So I always really, that's a nice voice crack. Really enjoyed strategy games, and I love playing Civ, and I grew up playing like
Brother.
the Age of. I
Brother.
grew up playing like the Age
Civ
of the.
6 is trash. Civ 5 is where it's at.
Dude, Civ 5
Yes,
for
sir.
fucking life.
Yes,
But
sir.
only accurate Earth true start mods.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
True.
Like that's like peak.
But yeah, so I always loved that game, and I also really loved the Age of Mythology and Age of Empires games.
Holy shit! Did you say Age of Mythology?
Yes, sir.
You are the only fucking person besides my friend Sean that like truly adores that game that I'm aware of. That game slaps.
Love that game. It was my
I was
first.
I was a Command and Conquer simp for my childhood.
Mhm.
I mean, so
StarCraft.
was I. But fuck yeah, if
I
I
like
did.
StarCraft. Yeah.
I did
StarCraft
Command and
Brood
Conquer.
Wars and StarCraft 2.
I was
Yep.
in the fucking Command and Conquer Generals and 0 Hour.
Fuck yeah.
Bruh. Air
Yeah.
Force General for life. The shit slaps.
Yeah.
It was
no.
Tiberium Wars 3 and 3 Kane's Wrath for me.
Those are the ones that were on the 360, right?
I don't fucking know. I played on computer.
That's
My
fair.
computer was so dog shit that
Mhm.
it would take me 10 minutes of real time in order to get through like 30 seconds of in-game time.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. So for the longest time, I thought that was the normal speed that Command and Conquer 3 was played at.
Oh God.
Oh no.
And then I became an adult, built my own computer, because that's what my parents would let me do whenever we would go on long road trips. And so I'd play like a single game of Command and Conquer over the span of like 4 hours.
Bro.
And so then I became an adult, built my own computer, and I was like, you know what? I want to play Command and Conquer again. Downloaded Command and Conquer, played it, and I managed to play a game in like 10 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck?
Fucking Phil over here with an actual like working computer. Like, is this real fucking life? Damn, dude.
Anyway, so you grew up playing Civ 5.
And AOS or not AOS, Age of Mythology.
Yeah.
And that eventually bled into Age of Empires, and then in college I found Total Warhammer 2. And
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
And
No,
then-
that'll do it.
Yep. And then I played that for a while until 3 came out, but started off with the elves, went to the wood elves, and then I just finally discovered my lizardmen. And I was like, it was love
Brother,
at
part 2.
first game.
Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly. Exactly. And
I'm
so
gonna post a meme That's a Command and Conquer meme. That's
Oh my god, yes, please.
My brother
Do it.
made it, but it's the best meme that there ever is for Command and Conquer.
It's the greatest meme to ever meme.
I'm ready.
Oh, come on. Where does General? Here we are.
I believe in you.
Do, 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 do. Dude, that is
Build
the Command and
anywhere.
Conquer
Oh my
General's
God.
equivalent of you must construct additional pylons.
Bro, just in that fucking voice, I can build anywhere. Oh fuck.
Can't build there, sir.
Can't build there. Dude, I used to have the most I used to stroke out trying to get when I was playing as the American faction to get my power generators to like line up perfectly.
Oh my god,
Because it wasn't on a grid, it was free spin. So I'm sitting there for like 3 minutes trying to line up get these generators line up fucking perfectly. And I'd finally do it. And I'm like, wait, why are the enemy at the gates? Oh, because I've been doing this for 5 fucking minutes and literally nothing else, and I have lost.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved playing as China because every single time they died, they just go like, save me. And it made me laugh. It made me laugh so much. Like,
God,
oh my gosh,
Mitchell,
that's
over here.
horrible. It's
I
so
like
politically
the sounds they make when
incorrect.
they
Like
died.
that game is so bad when it comes to like that stuff. And I
Oh,
was
it's
like,
horrible.
but the humor, there's like peak humor in it because like
and fucking the
the
GLA.
terrorist, yeah,
God, no, bro, God,
Like-
bro.
he's like, where are my shoes?
Where are my shoes? The fucking
Dude,
builders.
but then you look at it was like that game was very much not politically correct, but also like in that game everyone was a fucking fascist, and it's like, oh, okay, this is very much not like real life.
It's like, oh look, everyone sucks, so I guess it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. What were we talking about?
Hey guys, this is
Oh,
an Age of
so-
Sigmar podcast.
speaking
Okay.
But
No.
speaking of,
Sorry, this is an Age of Elmsword podcast right now.
Yes.
but speaking of strategy games, so the first semester, or no, not the first semester. The first semester I got to college, I ended up starting to play, League of Legends again.
Mm-hmm.
And like, fuck, dude, like I made friends
Yes.
with a couple of guys in the engineering department, and we played League of Legends every fucking night. And then the second semester rolled around, and Stellaris came out, and I actually
Yeah.
remember Stellaris back when Stellaris still had like no DLCs, and it had 3 different versions of FTL.
Freya.
Oh yeah, because it was the hyper lanes. It was like straight up just warping to places, and then it was like portal, like wormholes, right, or something.
It was hyperlanes, jump drives, and I can never remember the third one because it was always dog shit and nobody used it.
Yeah. I think it was
Like there
always
was a very specific build that you would do that made use of the third one, but I can never remember what it was.
Yeah, now it's all just hyper lanes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, now jump drives are like a high tier thing that are like an end game ability. But they also have like the big construction project that you can do, like Dyson spheres and things like that. Like I think Dyson spheres were in the game like at start, but now they have so many more like massive wonders.
Yeah, they have like 8 mega structures now, and they all do dumbass shit. Like I know one of the mega structures is just portal travel, where you just build portals that will just instantly transfer from one portal to another, and that's like the closest you can get to like just true like porting across the galaxy map.
Damn.
But those are mega structures, so they take like they're definitely cheap when it comes to mega structures, but they're selling mega structures, so they're fucking expensive as shit.
Right.
And we have to build like, if you're going wide, not tall, you have to build like 20 of them. Yeah, shit's kind of rough.
Yeah. It's kind of like in real life. You have a shit ton of skyscrapers. Like a skyscraper is always going to be expensive, but there's definitely bigger ones and smaller ones.
But I don't think we ever got back to why you got into Warhammer.
Oh, right.
No,
Yeah, that.
We did, and we suck. That's what that is.
Right. That.
Welcome
So yeah.
to Lorecast Eternals. This is an Age of Sigmar podcast for like 70% of the
5
time.
minutes. 5 minutes.
70 is a little gen. No, I'm kidding.
No. Complete that joke because it's fucking accurate. Listen, I'm not going to point out which episodes that there are or how many there are, but there is an amount of episodes that really aren't about anything that the episode was supposed to be about because,
Tangents.
we are
Flesh eater courts.
like, damn it, that we are probably going to go back at some point in time and redo because realistically, they're
Sooner rather than later.
hot seeming piles of garbage.
Aren't they getting like a bunch of new models here soon too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting at least one. Let's put it that way.
Fair.
Okay.
But
How did you get
yeah.
into Warhammer?
So
got Total War 2.
Total War 2. And that was it for a while. And then I found out that End Times happens. Because when I got into Total War, it wasn't until like 2008, 2017-ish.
Oh, yes, you got into Total War 2 like right when it came out then.
Yes. Yeah. I saw I got suckered by the ads.
Tis fair.
This looks sick, and I'm gonna go play it. And so I got into that, and then like when I start playing a game that I really like start to enjoy, I start really getting into the lore, and so I start looking up the lore and reading things, and I'm like, oh, End Times, there's cataclysms, that's cool, and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah. End Times. Yeah. End Times.
But and then honestly, like fast forwarding a couple years, I think it was when you guys put out the Lizardmen episode because I was just really desperate to find out what happened to the Lizardmen.
I think that's our 19th. Oh no, yeah, that's our 19th episode. I remember the Lizardmen episode not because like Lizardmen, but because
that was the first episode that we had clear mics.
That was the first EP we had. We had Quispy mics. Yeah, and we didn't sound like three cavemen huddling around in one mic screeching at each other.
Boonga boonga. This how Age of Sigmar work.
Oh no, you go.
I was about to say we've been considering the idea of going back and re-recording like the very beginning of the episodes, but just putting them the original on the back of the new, so like people can still have the old. But we're just like the second episode needs to be re-recorded.
No. So the reason why. So I've been pretty gung ho about getting the second one re-recorded, but that's because like our second episode pulls in like consistently does like 300% more views than all of our other shit, sometimes combined. But that makes sense because it's the ages, and that's like the ages. That's what confused me and Mitchell whenever we were first talking about doing a podcast. We were like, "What the fuck are the ages? What the fuck happened to Malekith?
Where is Malekith?
Where the fuck is Malekith? What the fuck's the Age of Myth?
That's the entire reason that this podcast started because we couldn't understand what happened to Malekith.
Yeah, and so like that. So not only is that like realistically where a lot of people flock to because they're confused, it's also kind of what gave the podcast life. So I've been pretty gung ho about getting the second episode re-recorded, but realistically probably at some point in time we're going to go through and re-record the first 19, or not the first the 2 through 19 because we already recorded our intro episode, just so we'll have nice crispy and good audio over it, and it's not just and there were some mistakes made in our first 19 episodes when we were still trying to figure out how the fuck to do podcast links.
I mean, honestly, I really enjoy the format because like it's different than a lot of other podcasts, and like I love chaos. I personally thrive on chaos.
Yeah, well, we keep it that way. I just try to like rein the chaos a tad bit.
Well, no, think about it this way: there's still going to be chaos. It's just going to be better sounding chaos, and maybe slightly more informed chaos.
Maybe, because remember, like, a lot of our goals with this podcast was just to be the Lorehammer equivalent to Age of Sigmar.
Right.
That was it. It was just three guys having a good old chat right around the mic with the idea of an episode.
Yeah. This is the outline. We're probably going to color outside the lines a lot, but like this is the general vibe.
Yeah.
and we'll hit that maybe 60% of the time. Being generous.
But yeah, so it was actually your guys' Lizardman episode that finally tipped the scale for me to get my first start collecting box. Because I was like going back and forth on it. Because really what I was looking for is I was just looking for a little Krokgar figurine for my desk because like as I play the
Oh,
shit.
is that when you learn that Guard technically doesn't fucking exist anymore in the current?
He still exists in me.
He's walking somewhere.
Listen, he exists in my soul too, brother, but his model is gone. But yeah, what
No,
was
it's
it?
Nakai.
I
Never
think
mind.
we fucking don't even bring that shit up. Don't. I can't fucking handle
live.
that right now,
Long
please.
live the king.
But yeah, it's the fucking. I think it's the Saurus Scar veteran. It's like one of the. It's like the current Saurus Scar veteran on a Carnosaur. That was
Yeah.
Kroggar's old model, and now it's just a Saurus Scar veteran on a Croxa.
Right, and I think it was like the Sunblood was like the old Gorok model, and I'm like,
Yeah,
don't come on board like that.
Yeah, and it's like, man, the fucking disrespect.
Yeah, because like I think like the Eternity Wardens, I think they axed a lot of them. Like I can't find anything for those, and some other models. Like it just made me really sad. But I was able to pick up the start collecting box, and I got them, and I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun. And a few of my students have been involved with Warhammer since like it came out, and so they were all very excited that I had picked it up. And one of the
by the way, Seraphon is episode 17, not 16.
17.
16.
Oh, I thought it was 19.
16 is Flesh Eater Quartz.
Oh,
Mhm.
let's not fucking talk about that.
So yeah, I was
man.
like just desperate to find out what happened to the Lizard Boys, and I'm like, and my heart of hearts,
They
like, I
got
know
fucked hard.
They got fucked
Yeah.
hard. But there's a chance that Nakai, Krogor, Gorok, they're all still alive. There's a chance. There's a small chance.
I'm sure they'll keep them. They'll keep them on the back burner until their sales start dropping, and then they'll be like, "Hey, by the way, Nakai," and then it'll fucking explode
exactly.
out and yada yada yada.
They'll do like some like kill team or something like that, or something just to bring them
Fucking
all back.
something. Yeah, they will do something.
Yeah, war
I'm
cracking.
sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it, and it's been a ever-growing mound. I'm limited to what I can buy because my wife is like, you have to contain it. I'm like, okay, I will contain it, and I
will contain it. Purchases a shed to build on my property so I can have additional places to contain it.
Exactly. Like I have a whole box that I set up that is a very sketch-looking amalgamation of what could be a Lizardman temple, and that's like my display case for all my lizards. And the original promise I made is like everything will be able to fit in there. It mostly fits. I think the Croxagores I just painted for the comp are sitting on the shelf, and my pile of shame probably won't fit in there once I have it done and painted. But
oh man, I need to work on my pile of shame.
I have not touched my pile of shame for fuck.
Actually, that's the funny thing is that most of my stuff is actually built.
It's
see, that's
painting. It's painting
It's
that
the painting thing that we have an issue with.
Yeah.
Hey, Philip, you want
See-
you want to do the good old switcheroo? I paint a few things, you build a few things.
like the silent.
No. Listen here, motherfucker. We had a deal.
I mean,
It is forbidden. We do not speak of it.
I was told not to talk about one thing and one thing only, and everything else I was told was fair game.
I mean, yeah. We're in a gash though.
That was gonna be the follow-up.
I told you. Once there's a competition amongst us mods, or amongst the mods and owners, or podcasters.
Honestly, that'd be really, really entertaining, I think, for the rest of us.
Yeah, I want the entire Discord to vote.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think that'd be really entertaining. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it, and really enjoy it. And I say my pile of shame. My pile of shame currently consists of 9 Saurus warriors and an Astrolith bearer, so it's not that bad.
Oh, that's not a pile of shame. That's
like
a small collection of shame.
Yeah,
I would say that's like a slight backlog of shame.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to. As I was telling Jacob before we started, I recently picked up a 3D printer, and
you're so boned.
It has begun.
Oh yeah, no, I've already started.
Dude, the 1-page rules, Seraphon models.
Yeah.
Those look
Yeah.
so good.
Are those the
Yeah.
ones that you showed me?
yeah.
Do I still? I'm pretty sure I still have them saved. Let me see.
But yeah, I've already started. I've made because like I run in our current D&D campaign. I'm running a Saurus Old Blood as a paladin, and I have a mount that I've already printed out. And I have one of my wife's characters that she likes to play, already printed, and those were kind of like my two testers to get the whole thing up and going. And now I'm like, all right, I have a whole laundry list of things I want to build and paint, and the Allie just posted release the Silent King.
God damn.
The timing on that.
Fuck.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me go. Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm gonna reply to this.
Oh God.
But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it, and I've loved every second of it because it gives me a really nice creative outlet like that I didn't have before. And
Well, that's super cool. I love hearing that shit.
yeah, because like my outlets before were video games, the gym, and fencing. Like my creative outlet before like moving into apartments was like playing the trumpet and like doing instrument things, but I can't do that because apartments don't like loud brass instruments.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it makes me sad, but like it's a non-violent, non-screen time hobby, and it makes me really happy. It makes my wife really happy. And you know, life is all about making them happy. So,
Yeah.
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 I wouldn't know anything about that.
I'm not even married, but I know that.
I think that one's more decidedly pointed at me. Well, yeah, no, like I said, that's awesome. I always love hearing how like we like the podcast has like gotten people more into like AOS and Warhammer lore and stuff.
Yeah,
That's always great to
100%.
hear because that was kind of the point, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like it's definitely influenced, and like that's why I like the competition a lot, is because, and I think I was expressing it to Mabel and Ozzy, is that like it pushes me to try new things, even if it doesn't work out. Like I think my Kit Bash one, like I really didn't do well on, but it made me and forced me to try new things that I've incorporated into my overall painting.
I would love to participate in these things, but I've been told that I can't.
It would be a conflict of interests.
It's just called not voting.
Actually.
Actually.
Yeah, that might be one thing we do here in the coming year, though, is me, Jacob, and Mitchell compete, and then everybody has to decide who did the best.
Yeah.
And then we'll open up voting to the entire Discord server.
Can I go back and
that'd be
look
really
at your
cool.
Kit Bash competition?
Oh, Mitchell, I replied to your thing.
Oh no, I saw.
Yeah. So how far do you take the models, or do you actually play games, or are you just into like just building them and painting them and things like that, or?
Yeah, I don't have a full army yet. I think I have a 1,000-point army. I might have a 2,000-point army if I do the math right.
Well, I mean, I think most AOS games can be played at like 1,500 points.
Gotcha.
There is a 1,000-point version of the game, but AOS really does better at the 2,000-point level.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because like honestly, like,
and
a
you
lot of
can play up to 3,000.
Actually, I think it would do really good at 3,000. I haven't just had the chance to do that yet.
Listen, at the end of the day, you cut out cardboard for bases. You use fucking toothpicks and paper for stick figures, and you use salt shakers for terrain.
I mean,
that's enough.
Have you seen my Aramon?
Yeah,
you've seen my Aramon.
Yeah, I've played against that Aramon. It's great.
You're gonna see
there's nothing like getting your ass kicked by a fucking Q-tip.
there was something on the Warhammer Reddit, I think, recently about a guy who posted a picture. It was like during Desert Storm.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, they were using rocks and that kind of thing for minis, and I was like,
and they were like, somehow they acquired Pepsi.
Yeah.
They were. I think they said they were like a tank crew.
Yeah,
they were playing on like a piece of like a sheet of metal, turned over barrels. We're using rocks,
oil sticks for
measuring.
Yeah.
And like somehow they acquired Pepsi, and they were fucking playing Warhammer. I don't know if it was 40K or if it was fantasy.
Yeah, I think it was 40K because like I think there's like one guy in the corner standing there with like You know how all the codexes used to be? There weren't any hardback versions. It was only paperback. And there was
Yeah,
like one guy
yeah.
standing in the background with like a 6th or 7th edition Eldar Codex,
That's fucking
or 5th or 6th edition Eldar Codex.
that's spectacular.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was pretty good.
If you have the drive, you can do it with basically anything.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I haven't played a game yet. A lot of my army actually, I had a very strong cavalry focus with the cold ones, and then they removed the cold ones with the new codex, and I was very sad. And
Oof.
well,
Oh yeah,
I
because
was
they have those new cavalry units now.
yeah,
I
I was
not,
well,
not really
let me
new
rephrase.
anymore, but
I was half sad, half happy because the cold ones I just hated painting. I don't know why. I did not like painting the cold ones. I think it was just because like there was a lot of like little tight corners and that kind of thing, and trying to dry brush and stuff
just made it overall just kind of a bitch.
Yeah, it was so annoying. But at the same time, like I like cavalry units and flanking because flanking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's kind of like me with my army. Is I really like the Hammers of Sigmar, but ironically enough, if I picked my faction based more on how, like, the kind of units I like, I'd actually go with the, oh shit, what are they called? Not the silver one, Mitchell, not the ones that you like. What's the storm host? Hang on, give me 2 seconds. I got my codex here.
Actually, my favorite one are the
Hallowed Knights, right?
No, they're cool and all whatnot, but it's the purple ones, the more purplish red
Celestial
ones.
Warbringers?
No,
Anvils of the Heldenhammer?
no,
Astral Templars?
yes,
Yeah, they're not purple, they're red.
Go.
Pretty sure they're red.
no, they're more of a purple reddish.
Hang on.
This is why the internet exists.
Well, this is also why I have my codex.
Their one photo that
No,
you're
it's not.
remembering of them that looks very vampiric is red armor, but they're more they used pink core paint.
No, that's the Celestial Warbringers, my guy.
No.
Yeah, I'm looking at the official paint scheme in the Battle Tome right now, and it's the Celestial Warbringers that are like that pink horror color.
I think you're wrong.
Can you take that up with Games Workshop?
Well, I'm currently looking it up on the fucking internet right now, and the Celestial Warbringers are purple.
Okay, but what about the Astral Templars?
The Astral Templars. Give me one moment.
We're probably thinking of like the same color but different names, I guess.
The Astral
Because-
Templars are
Purplish red.
a lighter version of purple that looks a slightly reddish, kind of. That's what I'll give you on that one. Hold on, let me
I was gonna say it looks kind of
let me dig a little deeper.
Are you fucking
Okay.
kidding me? They're the same fucking color.
Okay, no, I went to fucking Warhammer's like official page for it, and like that, yeah, it's a pretty purplish red.
Hey,
but, like,
excuse me, my pauldrons are not white, and my shield isn't white.
Correct. But no, my favorite would actually be the Knights Excelsior, because every time I play, if I'm not playing dragons, I'm fielding almost exclusively paladins and heavy infantry.
Oh yes, no, Knights Excelsis.
Yeah,
Excelsior?
Yeah. What did I say?
The Knights Excelsis, that was a storm host that was at the siege of
They're based out of Excelsis.
Yeah, and that's the storm host that's like basically nothing but paladins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them a lot. No, I think it's Excelsior. Knights Excelsior.
Excelsior
Maybe.
or something like that.
Yeah.
We're totally an
an
Age of Sigmar podcast, and we totally know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah,
Bro,
really...
I don't know Stormcast that well. Like, I'm gonna keep it buck. I just don't know Stormcast that well. There's a lot of fucking storm hosts, and like they're neat and awesome, but like, listen,
Yeah.
I cosplay Jurassic Park.
I was gonna say lizards are supreme.
That's my shtick. All right. Here's a question for you, Elmsword. So you're currently doing AOS. Are you think you're going to be getting into Old World or 40K?
Probably not 40K, just because it's confusing.
That's
And
fair.
I get lost. I'm listening to another podcast too. It's called Laying Down the Lore. They do a really good old world and 40K podcast.
Okay.
Also, I think during the last anniversary episode, there was a reference made to them about tromboning, which I think you guys should listen just to understand the reference, because I think the verb tromboning just it fits. But I think old world maybe I'll get into like the wood elves, maybe the high elves, but I also suck at painting humanoid features. So
Fair.
yeah, because I got into the a little bit of humanoid. I painted up a couple miniatures for my wife for Christmas of her characters, and it came out okay in the armor and that kind of thing. Ozzy helped me a little bit with the armor.
That's
But
good.
the faces I struggle
Listen,
a lot with.
just make your life easy like Mitchell and play skeletons.
Fair.
Yeah, bud. Hey, but if I'm doing Old World, I'm doing Bretonia.
Mitchell isn't actually a good painter. He is just smart enough to paint only easy shit.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean that's
fuck.
honestly why like I paint a lot of lizards, is because I got really in the habit of painting them, because I won't say I'm good. Like I've been looking at some of the golden demon stuff and I'm like, I have a long way to go.
Don't do
But
that. You're just gonna make yourself feel. You're just gonna make yourself feel shitty.
no, because I like looking at people who do stuff better than me, because like it gives me ideas on how to
Yeah.
improve my style. It's like, because in real world I work in a paint store, and like one of the things that we always tell people is like, if you want to get better, go work with somebody who's better than you, because
Not fair.
it's
Oh,
gonna
man.
force you to.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
competing in sports.
So you work in a paint store. Have we ever told you the story about the guy who used to, when they first introduced the 3 paints rule for tournaments? Did we ever tell you about the guy who found a way around that using 3 like paint cans,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
exterior paint?
that was in our
cans?
last episode. We talked.
I was
about
gonna
that,
say, I think about the last episode.
Yeah.
That's actually
So-
amazing.
Since you've actually worked at a paint store, do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, not gonna lie, I lost my shit when you guys were talking about that, because that is like the worst fucking idea to ever do. Because like house paint is very, very thick. Like it's meant to protect, at least for exterior stuff, it's meant to protect against the elements, and interior stuff, it's meant to protect against like your hands and like just
like
kids,
oils on
pets,
your hands and shit like that, and
Exactly.
other types of
It's that's why I think they recommend that you put like a varnish on your models, because like if you don't, like over time they'll start to blacken and that kind of thing, and you won't be able to scrub it off because you'll scrub the paint off. And
Yeah, that reminds me. I actually still need to put a varnish on my one really nicely painted Terminator. I still haven't put a fucking clear coat on him yet.
honestly, I use like Helmsman spar urethane, because
I have-
urethane won't it won't blacken from your fingers and that kind of thing. So if you're handling it a lot, it'll protect
Oh,
it,
wait,
and just do a
That's
couple
gloss
thin
coat.
coats
I
of
don't
that.
want that. No, I've got some Mr. Hobby Super Clear matte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I think I've got another can from somewhere else. I'm not sure where. But yeah, no, I have this lacquer gloss coat from Testers as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't used it yet because like it's a clear coat or it's a gloss coat, and I much prefer matte finish.
Yeah, no, I usually do
Yeah.
like satin or something. Unless I'm like doing like an aquatic creature, then I'll do gloss. But
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, no, this is also I don't know if I introduced you as my fake cousin.
Yep.
Please
Yep.
explain.
Oh,
yeah. This goes
Oh.
way back. I think this is like back when I first joined the Discord.
Yeah, no. So remember how I have this gigantic wardrobe in my room now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elmsword is the person that got me like the hella discount from Sherwin-Williams so I can paint the wardrobe that color.
Ah, nice.
And now I just went up there, gave him the employee ID number, said I got a cousin in Baltimore.
Yeah, 100%. That's what it is.
Wait, Mitchell,
Gotta
didn't
get the
both
hookup.
you and your brother used to work for Sherwin-Williams?
No, I never worked for Sherwin-Williams. I just spent a lot of my childhood in a Sherwin-Williams.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Matthew actually did though for a little while, didn't he?
Yeah. He worked for Sherwin-Williams when he was living here in Bryan for like a year or two, and then when he moved to Abilene, he was working for Sherwin-Williams and he became an aircraft mechanic.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And remind me, the school he went to for aircraft mechanic, was that the same school I'm at right now, or was that up in Abilene?
It's the same school but in Abilene, I believe.
Okay, gotcha. So it's their Abilene facility.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, bouncing back, like using house paint to paint models, horrible idea. Because like you said, like it's just gonna be very, very globby. It's gonna be very, very thick.
It's like mayonnaise.
Yeah,
To be fair, I think it was more about. I think this is much more of a sending a message moment.
Yeah, it was definitely like spite filled and like and but yeah, like I think like house paint in general is designed to dry like 1 to 3 millimeters thick, depending on different qualities and that kind of thing. But I think
yeah,
like,
that's horrible for models.
yeah.
Fuck that. How much of a bitch do you think it'd be to get that shit off of the actual model?
Oh, that'd be such a nightmare.
Hey, some people still do that with just Citadel paint.
dip. Done.
Yeah, that's
as long as it
fair.
doesn't break the rules.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I can't blame them. I might judge them, but I can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I do myself is I down here we're close. I actually have a cousin who lives like 10 minutes down the road from the Reaper paint like manufacturing facility.
Ooh.
And so the
Really
base
cool
yellow
store.
that I use on my Terminator, that's actually a Reaper paint.
Yeah, a lot of my primers and my gloss finishes I get from Sherwin, just because I like the clear coats. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense. You would be the one to know.
yeah, but like I really like using their spray varnishes just because it gets in all like the nooks and crannies and I don't have to worry about it. For competition stuff, I'll go and get like Citadel, like for like the last competition and this one, and because Sam can, I got like a Citadel primer just because I really like the way that their primer works. It's as expensive as
I
shit,
really like
so.
their primers. To me, it
It's
really makes
so
a
nice.
difference.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Like
so
everybody,
nice.
everybody says just use Rust-Oleum or Krylon. I'm like, no, there is
Yeah.
a difference here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
so
there
like
really is.
For my basic foot units, I'll use Krylon, because like I'll get like a $10 can for like 40% off.
Oh, nice.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
But like for like the actual like competitions or like models like that I really want to make look nice, I'll use the Citadel one because I just really like the finish because it goes on really, really thin and you can see more of the model and that it just looks nice. I don't really have another word for it, but
I mean, yeah.
If it looks good, it looks good.
If
it
you
looks
like
good,
it and
yeah.
it look good, then it'll look good. Nothing else
Yeah.
to it.
Exactly. But yeah.
All right. I have a question for you that I'm genuinely curious about.
Okay.
So excluding the Seraphon episode, because I don't want you to cop out. Favorite episode and why?
That's a solid question.
Yeah, I gotta take out the Seraphon episode because I feel like that'd be too easy.
Honestly, the one, I forget which number it was, but the one where you guys talked about Catacross a little bit. I know you
The
guys said
Bone
you wanted,
Reaper?
Yeah, the
yes.
Ozark Bone Reaper one. That was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a really good one.
because
Yeah.
just as a like a sword guy, like I love having heroes that are just like, hey, I'm really fucking good with a sword. Come fight me.
Yeah.
The Catacross using the power of his just natural skill versus Archeon's bullshit.
Exactly. I think that, and like also you guys went a little bit more into like the lore. I think it was the Battle of the 8 Points, or whenever Nagash tried to come back and take it.
Yeah, I think that was like the first
yes.
part of that was the first part of the Battle of the 8 Points when when Catacross and the Ozarks went there, and I think the Night Haunt went there too, and Lady Olander 1v1 Bellicor.
Right.
And that's when she cursed him.
I really, really enjoyed that episode. Just because like as a Lizardman simp, I just didn't really pay attention to a lot of the other ones. And I don't like Nagash because I think he's a dickhead, but
no, that's a pretty accurate assessment.
That's what makes Nagash great.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like
Like
he's
it,
like he's like Darth Vader. Like he's a villain, but you love him and you also hate him because
like
like he's a child
yeah.
murdering sociopath. But
But
his
For
character,
some people, that's just the vibe.
exactly. But it's just like that idea of that a villain has such a rich, in-depth backstory that you just end up loving him because you can see him rising and falling, and like overcoming and then being overcome.
Yeah,
And I
I
really like
think
that kind of vibe.
For what I find fucking hilarious about Nagash is for all of his super rich, in-depth, and deep lore, you can basically come it down to what you just said, which is whether you love him or you hate him, it's because he's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that you can just condense all of his lore into that one fucking sentence.
Yeah.
And I just find that hilarious. And when you think about it, it's almost kind of like a masterful stroke of storytelling that you can condense all that lore into that one saying, but it somehow is still good lore.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I agree.
that's why I like Nagash. Like he's a fucking prick and like probably needs to die, but also like good character.
Yeah.
No real complaints.
Yeah, I got to the point in End Times where he I think he devoured the old Death God, and I was like, well, he's gonna be around for a bit.
yeah.
Yep.
Spoilers. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh god, oh no.
Oh no, spoilers for M times.
Whatever shall we do? Well, listen, Nagash brought the devouring Death God's vibe from Old World into AOS because he promptly did the same shit. So
Exactly.
well, I know throughout the episode so far, we brought up a couple times that you're a sword guy. So why don't you in some fencing and whatnot? So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I love swords. And yes, I've been doing it for about 14 years. Coming up on 14 years now, I guess. Started like way back in 8th grade after I was always a huge King Arthur, Robin Hood, Star Wars fan.
Gotcha.
Just never grew up. And when everyone
A
else was like getting
respectable
into
childhood, understandable.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Exactly.
no comments on that. That just sounds neat.
And like everyone else like around me started growing up, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to grow up from that part of me, and we're just gonna like turn it into something that actually has some vindication. So I'm gonna look around for fencing, and I think the tipping point was my cross country coach in middle school. Always had a Friday night movie, and we watched The Princess Bride, and that was like
Aha!
yeah,
Yeah.
that was the tipping point. It was building, and then that just pushed it over the edge.
God,
And so I went to my parents,
movie.
and I'm like, hey, I want to take up fencing. And my parents they always made sure we had enough, but there wasn't a lot of extra. So they were like, all right, if you really want to do this, here's the requirements. It has to be under $50 a month. Has to have all the gear provided. Has to be close, and the instructor has to be legitimate.
Yeah, no shady shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I found
That's
a
actually
place.
that's actually a decently hard checklist to come by with.
Oh yeah, they didn't think,
including no shady shit.
yeah, they didn't think I was gonna find a place. So I found a place that was two
They
doors.
Jokes
was
on-
gonna find a
jokes
place, so
on-
I found a place.
Jokes on them.
Exactly. I found a place that was 2 doors down from our church. I found it was like $45 a month. All the gear was provided, and the guy used to be in the top 100 fencers in the nation.
God damn!
Oh, wow, yeah.
You hit the fucking jackpot.
And we're
God
pretty
damn.
sure he was higher than just the top 100 because his wife started like giving my mom the full thing, and he was like, "Please stop." But come to find out later, so in the world of fencing, very similar to martial arts, there's different schools. Like there's Taekwondo and there's Muay Thai, there's
Yeah.
karate, and then in each of those there's different subsets of schools. In fencing, it's kind of like by Western country. So there's like Italian fencing, French fencing, English, Germanic, Austria-Hungary, like all that kind of stuff.
How different are the variations? Are they all like like slight differences, but pretty similar, or are they like drastic differences in those styles?
Yeah, I would say that like between the different styles, like you can definitely see how far removed they are from its predecessor. and its predecessor. So like the Italians invented fencing. There's going to be a lot of people who contest me on that. There's a lot of argument that the Spanish, Germans, French, and Italians invented fencing, but
In your opinion, it was the Italians and everyone else can suck it?
yeah, basically because the Italians invented the rapier, and the rapier was kind of the start of fencing. Now I will say like the French, Germans, and Spanish like definitely refined it a lot, and I'm going to give them a
so
lot of
whenever you
props.
talk about fencing, you're talking about like a distinct difference between fencing and what like some people would call like HEMA, like historical European martial arts with like
Yes,
long swords and things like that. You're talking specifically
kind
more
of.
like rapier, saber, and epee and foil and things like that.
A little bit. So basically, the world of fencing is kind of in a very troubled place, I would say, right now, because
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, the sport was kind of dying pre-COVID. Ironically, COVID did something, and it became a very, very fast rising sport in the U.S. But that's like
Release
the whole
6 feet apart.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a whole meme about it. But yeah, like in the 1900s, it became a very elitist sport. Very, very expensive. Very not only for gear but for lessons as well. Like
Oh, kind of like horseback
only
riding
high
almost.
society.
exactly. Like it was meant to be like the nobility of modern society gets to participate and nobody else.
We can't have
Um,
dirty commoners in our fencing. God forbid.
Right. And so the Olympics. I'm trying not to lay too much blame on people, but the Olympics, I would say, is not what fencing is intended to be, and there's going to be a lot of people who fight me on that.
Well, that's fine. This
But-
this this
Well,
is just your opinion. It's not like
it's
you're like
just like
this is
how-
the only way.
I was going to say,
Well,
like
it's just like how in MMA fighting, some people will say things like, sorry, randomly one of my YouTube videos
I
in the
heard,
background
yeah.
started.
I heard the cat.
But no, so it's just like how when you look at like martial arts and MMA fighting and things like that, some people will look at Taekwondo and go like, oh, well, that's not a real martial arts because it was developed exclusively for fighting in tournaments. Whereas, like,
Right.
you look at something more like Muay Thai. Muay Thai is a type of martial arts that's still taught today in military settings as a way to kill someone in hand-to-hand combat.
Right. And that's like kind of the thing is like, so what you see in the Olympics is if anyone has ever had experience with martial arts in a lot of tournaments, there's this whole idea of point sparring.
Yeah.
And point sparring is basically the first person to make a touch, they score. Doesn't matter what. If they touch you in like your hip and you immediately clock them with your foot across their jaw, it doesn't matter. They get the point because they got it first.
Now, before this continues, I want to ask a question. Do you think that point sparring puts certain styles at disadvantage and other styles at advantage?
Personal styles, yes. Like Italian, French, that kind of. I think they all have their different strengths. And if the user is well acquainted enough in each tradition, they're going to be able to work it to their advantage. So for instance, I started with the Italian, and I've had a very heavy French influence throughout my fencing career. The Italians are very, very aggressive. Like they want to start with the blades in contention with each other, and they're trying to basically wrestle command of each other's blade away from the other person. Versus the French are going to sit back, they're going to avoid blade contact, and they're going to try and lure their opponent into a trap. And so there's different strengths with that mentality. It's kind of like, the best defense is a good offense, or the best offense is a good defense. It's kind of like
it's almost
similar
like
ideas.
the unstoppable object versus the unmovable object kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or unstoppable force beats unmovable object.
Exactly. And so when you have that mentality, what I always tell my students, as I stole this from one of my instructors, is there's like kind of three big elements to fencing, and it's the tactics, the theory, and the technique. And, the tactics are how you implement the technique. The theory is why you do the technique, and the technique is actually how you do it. But they all kind of bleed into each other in a giant cyclical effect that you have to have all three and be thinking about all three if you want to be an exceptional fencer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. And so kind of bouncing back, like with the Italian and French stuff that I've done, a lot of it kind of starts with the weapons that you see in the Olympics, because the weapons you see in the Olympics were made to be safety implements. Like they weren't meant to be, combat weapons, but they were meant to train for the combat weapons. Because when they originally started fencing and using it as a sport and actually trying to train people, their only safety measures, they took a rapier or a small sword, they took a piece of leather and wrapped it around the end of it and called it good. That was the only safety measure. And it was a sharp sword.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
after a few masters and students started dying of sepsis, they started implementing.
Only a few.
Yeah,
Only
They
if
started-
that's all
fine.
it takes.
That's what we call acceptable losses.
exactly.
It only
They
takes
started.
I think 7 deaths for TxDOT to build a bridge.
That's actually awful.
Jesus Christ.
A little bit.
Well, now I'm looking at that bridge over by the
it's-
Buc-ee's, and I'm like, why are you here?
It's funny that you mention that like only a few people had to die, because I remember one thing that was really popular back in the 20s in like late 1800s, early 1900s in Germany, was that people would get into sword fights and they do like sparring sword fights, and then they would intentionally like mark each other's like faces or whatnot with
Yeah.
scars, because
That was
that
a
was seen
big
as
deal.
like very handsome at the time, which is actually why
Oh,
whenever
yeah,
you look
I
at
know exactly
pictures
what you're
of
talking
like
about.
the
They
guy,
actually have
whenever
like special masks for it, that they would have like these leather caps that they would cover their throat and like the tops of their heads and leave their cheeks exposed, so
Yeah.
that they purposely, like, if there was a head cut, it would deflect it down to cut their cheeks and give them scars and that kind of thing. It was really
yeah,
messed up.
which is why whenever you look at pictures of I hate to say it, but like these are the most easy and iconic pictures you're gonna find. But if you look at iconic pictures of like Nazi high
Nazis.
command, a bunch of them have scars on their
Mhm.
faces, and it's because in their 20s they'd been part of these like dueling groups that would do that.
Exactly.
So I remember reading something on that, and I am like 90% sure this is what it said, but it's been a while since I read it. But I think they would also like pack those cuts and shit with like horsehair or something like that to like, make them more exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shit's wild.
Yeah, no, fencing, yeah, it's got a wild history. But like even like when they first like came out with masks to protect your face, it was considered like a dishonor, and you were like insulting your enemy because you didn't trust them to not hit your face. Because some of the weapons, like the face was like, or at least for some of the bouts, like the face would not be called a target. But just because
it's saying like, I think you suck, so I'm wearing defensive gear.
Exactly. And like when they first started wearing gloves, like the reason why you see like a lot of traditional fencers only wearing one glove is because to shake gloved hands with somebody else was seen as an insult. Because originally you would start shaking someone's hand to check if they had a weapon, and it was a sign of trust, like, hey, I don't have a weapon here. But if you're wearing a glove, it's really, really easy to conceal another weapon. And so that's why you'll see like a lot of traditional fencers, they have one gloved hand, one ungloved hand, and the ungloved hand is usually their non-sword hand, and they would use that to shake hands at the beginning or end of a match.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
like,
that's actually the same reason why people go like cheers and they clink their glasses together. Is because it used to be back in the medieval days. The reason you'd go cheers is you do it to like if you for instance, if you had like a visiting dignitary and you were like sealing a deal or something like that, but as a form of trust, everybody would slam their drinks together and slosh all their drinks together back in the time where it was either wood or metal were the cups of choice. And so all the drinks would mix together. That way, if anybody was poisoned, everybody got poisoned.
Oh man, it's so cool.
It's also
so
the
cool.
Roman handshake. So me and my brother, we're idiots, and we do the Roman handshake a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we just slap each other's forearms. But that was kind of a sign of like, I'm checking if you don't have a hidden knife on your forearm.
Yeah.
And that's the entire point of that handshake. It's not a handshake; it's an arm shake. So it's the same concept of that.
Yeah,
I think it's so cool that that a lot of the ways that we as a modern society greet and celebrate together spawn from people trying to murder each other.
Exactly. Yeah, not trusting one another.
Humans are great.
But yeah, so like fencing's come a long way, and that's why like a lot of the swords bend now and that kind of thing, because fencing has gone from one of the more dangerous martial arts to the safest martial art on the planet, because we have so much safety equipment.
Yeah.
However, what ended up happening with the Olympics is they started taking that and treating them as if they were real swords, which is not a bad mentality to have, especially it's like the idea of like, when you're on the practice range, the weapon is a weapon. Whatever you're shooting
treat all guns as loaded type thing.
Right. And it's the same mentality, but what ended up happening is people are like, oh no, this is the pinnacle of fencing. And if you've ever used like an actual weapon that's going to stand up in combat with repeated like full force blows, the fencing swords just won't stand up, and they won't act. They won't be bending and back and forth and all that. So
Yeah,
to
it's
kind of
why
circle
like
back,
it's why you'll see guys who practice like HEMA and things like that, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm a professional fencer. I'm here to like win a HEMA tournament, and all the HEMA guys turn to look at each other and go, what the fuck did this joker just say?
exactly. So like I would say what I do is right in the middle of Olympic and HEMA stuff. So we use a lot of the Olympic weapons as our foundation because they were originally developed to teach and to teach control. And once you have that control down, then you can start working backwards through history. And so like a lot of the first weapons that my students will pick up will be sabers or rapiers or small swords or something like that. And then keep going back to our history until about the medieval period. And so like I do train people with the long sword, the arming sword, the great sword, the bastard sword, and the stick fighting that goes along with that. Like I love stick fighting. It's a lot of fun because you get the same movements and the same actions as you do with a long sword, and like half the injuries. Because like I think my smallest heavy weapon right now would be my small sword, and the next one would be an arming sword that I actually had a really cool experience. I got to make it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no. If you guys are ever like up in the PA area, just east of Harrisburg, there's this smithy that does classes, and one of the classes is you can make a knife, you can make an axe, or you can make a sword. And you have a blank, and they take you through the whole process. And my brother came up just before Thanksgiving, and we went and did that this past November.
That's actually really fucking cool.
It was so cool. It was like aside of like religious and romantic things aside, top 5 experiences of my life.
Yeah.
And you still have that. You still have that sword to this day, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's sitting right next to me. I've been like kind of fussing with it ever since we started recording.
Nice.
But that is my smaller. I have that one, which it's an arming sword. So an arming sword was usually measured by the wielder's arm. That's why it was literally from your fingertips to your shoulder. And that's like the blade length. And it's about 3 pounds. But imagine like swinging a 3-pound sledgehammer around and like doing damage with it. Or even
as someone who owns a 3-pound blacksmith hammer for various different tool work and things like that, like I get that.
Yeah, it will fuck you up. Like even just like the regular practice weapons, the fencing saber that you see in the Olympics can crack your ribs.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just goes into the thing of like, treat all weapons as loaded, treat all training weapons as treat them all as if they have the capacity to maim and or kill you, because realistically they kind of do.
Exactly. And that's like one thing that the way we track your training in my world of fencing is like we go by lineage. And so it's very like your master's master and your master's master, kind of like how Jedi in Star Wars, like Yoda's lineage was going from Yoda to Dooku to
Qui-Gon
to Obi-Wan
to Anakin
to Ahsoka, and so on and so forth. Like kind of going through that same kind of thing. So like my master's master learned from the guy who brought Italian fencing to America. And
wait, hold on. Was that you making an example, or is that actually real?
No, that's real. No, like
that's really cool.
Yeah, so my instructor learned from a guy named John Sullins, who is a very, very well-known fencer in the historical world, who learned from a guy named William Gogler, who learned from a guy who was named Aldo Nadi. And Aldo and Neo Nadi, they were brothers, are considered the best fencers of the 1900s.
Wow.
Yeah, like period, hands down.
Damn.
And Aldo is one of the last people that we know of that fought a public duel.
To the death?
To First Blood.
First Blood, gotcha.
Using, I think they used epes, because epes before, I think the 90s. Don't quote me on that. The
Okay,
epes
1890s or 1990s?
1990s, which doesn't make this a lot better. The whole scoring system was called something called a point d'array, which was instead of like a rubber tip or an electronic tip at the end, there was these 3 sharpened metal prongs at the end of it. And the way you would score is like, originally when it was developed, you would, cut somebody's chest, but
Casually.
just casually, as you do. And then as they put more and more protection in, and we had like canvas jackets, the points would catch on the jacket and jerk the jacket, and that's how you'd know that there was a touch scored. But yeah, like my first master, I won't give his name because he's still kicking around. I don't want him to be DDoSed.
Right.
Gotcha.
But he had like a whole like box of gloves in our first armory that were just covered in blood.
Oh shit.
Oh Jesus.
But even my jacket, like going back to like swinging those big swords are dangerous. Like even with my jacket, like I got hit by a bastard sword one time, and it hit with such force that it like twisted my skin underneath the jacket and ripped it open. So there's like a nice little blood spot on my canvas jacket, which
that sounds lovely.
It was not fun. I was being dumb. I had been going for like 2 hours, and I should have stopped like a half an hour earlier. And like I was like dealing with a lot of muscle fatigue, and I just missed a parry, and it came down on my arm hard. And I was being dumb. I should have stopped earlier.
And that sounds like the what did they used to, whenever we were kids and you'd grab someone's arm with both your hands really close and
Indian
twist.
burn.
Indian burn.
Yeah, that
burn.
sounds
Indian
like
burn.
the Indian burns Indian burn.
Listen,
Yeah, it
listen, Isaac, this is what I gotta say about that. Dumb mistakes turned into wisdom.
Oh yeah. And good stories. And like that's something my dad always said is like, life is all about making stories. So as long as you walk away from a situation with a good story, you came out a winner.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
100%.
But yeah, that's my fencing in a nutshell.
I
everything from I'd say the Middle Ages to the present was what I've worked with.
I have a question about like the styles and whatnot. The two examples you gave were Italians were more aggressive, and the French style was more kind of trying to like mental and more lure their opponent into a trap. If you were to have 2 people who were doing the Italian style, like how would that go? Would it just be like whoever was the more aggressive would normally win, or does the style change because you're facing someone who is basically a mirror match to you?
Yeah, that is definitely a thing. So like, so a really good instance is like my brother and sister also picked up fencing after I did, which made my mom thrilled. But
all of my children are hungry for blood.
Yeah, exactly. Like my brother like specializes in the rapier. My sister specializes in knife combat.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
She's a bloodthirsty little one. I say little one. She's an adult now. But
your siblings are going to hear this episode, and one of them will stab you, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm seeing one of them later this week, and I'll text it to her because she was very excited. But yeah, so like when we fence each other, because we all came up in the Italian style, there's a lot of pushing and shoving.
How does fencing go in the Elmsword household? Aggression.
Aggression. Just complete aggression.
Just doom music plays.
Exactly. And then I wondered why I didn't have a girlfriend until 21. And she knew what she was
cute, but I think he wants to kill me all the time.
That's okay. My wife, it was really funny. So one of my really, really good friends, I was actually his best man at his wedding. He was my martial arts instructor in college. So his full-time job is he's a martial arts instructor at a mixed martial arts gym down in Tennessee. And I believe he's got his 3rd or 4th degree. Nene, if you're listening to this, please don't hurt me. In Taekwondo, and his 2nd degree in Muay Thai, and he's working on, I want to say, Jiu-Jitsu as well, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think. Like he's scary good at martial arts.
If I remember correctly, Jiu-Jitsu is the act of folding clothes with the people still in them, right?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I remember him saying about my wife one time is like, she scares me. Because like my wife was like that person on campus who was just like head to toe leather and like is also super tall and super imposing, and like everyone was terrified of her. But she's like a giant sweetheart once you get to know her, and like literally my best friend. But
That's awesome.
she's very scary. And I do not
See,
like
now
making her
all you
angry.
need to do is get her to learn how to, become a knife fighter, and now she's truly terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, I'm working on it.
Have the intimidation factor and the murder factor. What more could you want?
Exactly.
What
And
more could you want in a spouse?
she's an amazing cook. Like the reason I do the dishes is because like she could literally open her own restaurant because she's just that good of a cook.
And if you don't, she'll fucking fold you in half.
Exactly.
Yeah, listen, I do the dishes not because there's obviously an obligation there, but it's also the threat of impending doom definitely helps with the motivation.
Oh yeah. And plus, like she knows where I
Okay.
sleep, so she can.
She
just
can't
murder
hear
me.
anyway, so she can't hear you talk smack.
Nah, she'll probably listen to this episode. So
I will send this to her personally somehow.
But yeah, so like bouncing back, like when I fence my brother or my sister, it's a very aggressive. We're trying to maneuver the other person's blade into a place where it gives us an opening on the other person. Versus if I was facing a French person, I wouldn't be able to do that as much, as because every time I engage onto their blade, they just disengage and
You're
they
waiting.
come off
Yeah,
of it.
it's like, where's the landmine I'm going to step on that's going to like bite me in the ass if I'm not careful?
Right. And so like when I fence an Italian or a French person, like I'm like, all right, in the back of my head, I need to be conscious that they're going to not want to engage me. So I have to wait for the opportune moment. Shout out Pirates of the Caribbean. I love that line from Pirates. I'm also a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan, which
I just
also
restarted watching the all movies like this last
Mhm.
week, so I got to watch the second one now.
They're good. They're good movies.
Yeah.
Well, the first
solid.
three.
Yeah. And the first three are good. I wouldn't
We
start
don't
anyone
talk
with
about
four
the
to
other ones.
I'll watch them if I'm drunk and bored.
I know. There we go. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Which is a very rare occasion because I'd like.
That's
do
like
not drink.
Sharknado. One of the people I used to work with, he was always like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
Sharknado is a great movie to watch if you're drunk off your ass and everyone else is drunk off your ass, and you're not watching the movie. You're just laughing at everything going wrong."
Oh yeah, no, I had like one of my main games before I started getting into like Warhammer, and I also play like a lot of Warframe.
Good game.
Nerd.
Good game.
Is Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO.
Bro,
yeah, buddy.
I play that currently.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Ooh, let me know, because I've been just
shit.
depending on life. I've been trying to get back into it because it's honestly like my favorite game of all time.
Well,
Like, it's my favorite game.
Oh, it's a great fucking game. I started playing it like when I was a junior in high school, and I got to like max level, and there was the first round of DLC or expansion, which was the Hut Cartel stuff. But then I hopped out of it, and I got back into it like last year, and I just recently got back to like the Hut Cartel level of like character. So I'm working my way through all those DLC and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you're in for a ride. I think they just put another one in recently that
they changed companies. They actually a different company owns it.
Broadsword now. Broadsword.
Yeah, so I'm actually really interested to see how if they change the narrative at all or what they do with it. But like,
I think the old company, I want to say it was Bethesda, was it kind of stagnated.
I think it was BioWare.
BioWare, that's what I'm thinking of. Started with a B, I think it just stagnated a little bit, and I think that there was there wasn't like a whole lot of development. But ever since I think the new company's taken over, they have a lot of content planned, and I'm really
that's
really
good. That's
excited.
good. It's a great game. I'm happy to see that it's continuing. Yeah. But here's the real question. Though: dark side or light side?
Jedi Sentinel all the way, baby.
See, that's the wrong answer. Correct answer is both. But Sith Juggernaut right here. I am evil. I am evil tank.
Yeah, no, I enjoy both sides, but fun fact, whenever they make a new server, I purposely go onto that server and make a placeholder character to hold the name Elmsword.
That's fair.
Nice.
That's fair.
Because like when they started
Wow.
doing the server merging and that kind of thing, they were like, people who've had they were like, if you have the same username, when we're gonna look at a couple different criteria. We're gonna look at whoever's had the account the longest, whoever's played more, and who has been the most recent and active. So like you could have like the same name as somebody who played for like 2 years straight, but then hasn't touched the game in 8 years, and you've been playing for the last 3 years, and then you would get the priority on the username. So I was like,
Oh, that's
I'm one of the
interesting.
only Elmswords out there, and I want to keep it that way.
No, that's fair. Listen, like Elmsword like 01 or 02 or something, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
Nope. I am the original. I think that I've met one other Helmsword in the entire history of gaming, and that was like in League of Legends, and I still beat that person to it. So,
Nice.
Nice.
now that I put this on the internet, I'm never gonna be able to have it again, but it's okay. I have it on.
That is the way of the
SWTOR.
internet, yes.
Yeah, I have it on SWTOR, and that's all that matters.
Most definitely.
That and Warframe, but yeah, no, I really really enjoy that game. It's I think it still holds the record for the most expensive game ever made, and I think or at least the most expensive Star Wars game.
I was about to say, have you heard of this little game called Star Citizen?
Yeah, fair.
Bro.
And then I think it also still holds the record for the most number of cinematic cutscenes in a game.
That
would
makes
make
sense.
sense.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. They're fucking fantastic, though.
Oh yeah.
I really wish they. Honestly, I just wish they'd make like a SWTOR movie with like just like the lore and shit, because the cutscenes like are just fire.
Yeah, and like the trailers. Like I don't know if you guys have watched like the trailer.
Yes.
Like
all of them multiple times.
Gosh.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Whenever like I'm feeling down, I just plug one in. I'm like, yes.
Happy juice chemicals, yay!
Oh man, if we want to talk about some good cinematics, though, like obviously we have to talk about Astartes.
Bro. Bro. Well, actually, hold on.
Noise.
Before we switch topics, I have to potentially set Elmsword's family on fire. In your opinion, who's the better swords person? You or your which out of you and your siblings, who's the best?
So, considering that both my brother and sister 4 years ago had catastrophic knee injuries, like within like 3 months of each other.
You get an advantage.
Wow, Elmsword, isn't that a fucking coincidence?
Yeah, no. So my sister was skiing and she came around a bend, and there was just a bunch of line of snowboarders. Because I'm originally from New York. There's just a line of snowboarders, and she plowed into one of them, and it just fucked up her knee, and she's on year 4 of recovery.
Jesus, I'm sorry to hear that.
My brother, it wasn't 4 years for my brother, but like, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, he had picked up jujitsu, and
fuck.
Yeah, he had someone on his back, and he was on one knee, and he planted one knee, and we think what we think would happen is the knee that was planted was too far forward and was like over the toes. And then if anyone knows anything about like proper like squatting technique, you never put your toes over, or your knee over your toes.
Yeah.
And he tried to stand up, and the entire thing exploded. Like,
oh
God.
Oh god.
For those that are not squeamish, I'm just like fast forward. For those who are squeamish, just fast forward.
I want to say something
I think
weird.
it's too late for a spoiler warning.
Because like hockey is completely different in this terms of like you're supposed to get your knee over your toes to provide that extra like power. But hockey is really easy on the knees. It's really hard on the hips.
Right.
God.
And so basically what happened is a ligament snapped. It shot his kneecap back. It cracked in half, sheared off a part of his femur, and sent all of his cartilage through a blender. He's made a full recovery.
That's good.
Yeah, like he actually ended up coming and stopping by my school the same week that he came up to do the sword stuff. And he was.
My
he was
condolences to your fucking sister and brother. Good God.
Yeah. So my sister is like, unfortunately, like had to like spend her entire like undergraduate career, going to physical therapy every week and that kind of thing.
Her injury is recoverable, isn't it? Right? Like it is going.
Yeah, it's going to get better. It's just going to take a while because there was like a a misdiagnosis at the start, and
Oh, of fucking course there was.
yeah, and that delayed treatment by a full year. Like
So-
it was a full year before they caught the actual thing.
Whenever I was a kid, I knew a guy who was a black belt in martial arts. He was in high school, and I was in middle schoolish. But whenever I knew him, he was saying that yeah, he had been a black belt, but he'd had to stop for a while because one day he showed up while his school was doing a bunch of like photo shoots and things like that. And they were like, "Hey, you want to come here and like do some quick photo shoots for us while you're here, since you're one of our younger black belt holders?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, totally." And he didn't stretch right,
Oh no!
Oh fuck.
and he went in and he did a high kick, and they
Oh,
took
no.
a photo right as this happened, and he did a high kick without stretching properly, and they literally
God.
caught the moment on film that his hamstring snapped.
Oh
Oh,
no!
Yep.
Oh
I
my
would love to
and
have
you could
that.
see
Like,
you
if
Oh.
my hand
see
seems strapped, I would love to have that picture.
yeah,
though.
they literally caught his
Oh.
expression. So like in on this picture, they caught his expression like at the halfway point where he realized what had happened, and literally you can see the blood draining from his face.
oh.
Oh my gosh! That's
But this was also
horrible.
this was the same kid who damn near sliced his leg in half with a chainsaw and
Hold up.
walked in to his mother and was like, "Mom, we need to go to the hospital." And she's like, "Why?" As he's standing there holding his artery shut with his finger, and he pulls his finger out and goes, "'Cause I'm bleeding," as blood starts like shooting out of his artery, and he jams his finger back in, and he's like, "I think we need to go to the
It's
hospital."
like, why do we have to go? Cause I'm dying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
God, you know what that reminds me of? My father had a friend. He had an old friend. My dad and him were both into dirt bikes when they were younger. Like they raced semi-professionally and whatnot. And so this happened. I want to say I think it was my first year at college when my father told me about this. That his friend, who they're both well into their 50s at this point, or well into their 40s at this point, and he had acquired a dirt bike. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go do dumb dirt bike shit like I am a young 20-year-old with minimal safety." And I forget exactly what he did. I think he crashed in some capacity, but basically when he crashed, he essentially like completely and totally detached his ACL,
Oh my gosh!
and he was like out in some backwoods track with like no one around.
Oh no!
And so he kind of just laid there in agonizing pain, unable to contact anyone because like his phone didn't have service and shit, until his wife came and got him like 4 hours later. She was like,
Oh, God.
"Well, I didn't know where the fuck you were." So I came to the track and he got there and he was just like, and she's like, oh, this is a fucking problem. And like,
Yep.
yeah, no, he basically like essentially if he had
She had
somehow
the point.
managed to cut into his leg, into the back, if he had somehow managed to cut to the back of his knee, his ACL would have just like fallen out.
Oh my gosh!
Like it was
Yeah.
like completely detached.
That reminds me of a story like my dad told me of when he was in high school, that there was like some kids that wanted to pull a prank on the school, and so they decided to put a pumpkin on top of the flagpole. And everything was well and good until the kid who did it put it on top of the flagpole and decided, instead of climbing down safely, to slide down the flagpole.
Oh, God.
Oh,
no.
And for anyone who knows what a flagpole has, it has that little metal part that you tie the rope on. Yep.
No.
Yep. And he was wearing basketball shorts,
Oh!
and scrotum went bye-bye. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Oh!
Yeah. I think he ended up
No.
making a recovery and ended up having kids, but like, yeah,
Holy shit!
yeah.
Impressive.
Dad said it was like one of the
Swimmers
worst
are like
things
Olympic
he's ever
grade.
seen. Yeah.
That's like the
That
story of the
kid-
guy who
Took me a second.
that kid's nuts. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
that's like the story of the guy who went skydiving, and his harness had ridden up into his crotch, so whenever he pulled his chute, one of his testicles got caught in the strap, and he popped a testicle when he pulled his chute.
Oh.
You know, this
Well-
makes me feel glad that my injury was just ripping my hip flexors.
What is this episode turning into?
A
Traumatic
horror
events
show. That's
without
what it's turning into.
Oh fuck, dude.
1,000 ways to die.
So back on the original question, who's the better fucking fencer? Oh god.
I would say I am. There's definitely things that like my brother and my sister have fenced me long enough that I think they know me very well as a fighter.
Yeah,
And
like
so,
they're
my
able to kind of
sister-
predict your feints and things
But
like that.
also,
Oh yeah, like my sister knows to a T when I'm about to attack. Like more than any of my students, more than even my brother who I've been fencing with longer. She's picked up when I'm going to attack. And that's such a huge thing because like in any combat scenario, like a tenth of a second or even a hundredth of a second is all of the advantage you need to gain the advantage. And so and my brother has always been very just physically very stoic and like his physicality reflects that and the
like
way he uses
it's hard to judge what he's about to do just by looking at his body. Like you can't really tell.
that and it's very hard to move him. And so like
Grounded. He's very grounded.
Very grounded. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And like when like trying to move his sword is like trying to move a boulder. It's trying to move a boulder because he's just a solid rock and you cannot get around him if he doesn't want you to.
Gotcha. So they both have their talents, but given your lack of debilitating leg injury, you say you'd probably cinch the first place award.
Yeah. Plus, I started fencing like 2 years before my brother and like 3.5 years before my sister, give or take. If they listen to this, they're probably going to correct me on that. But
It's okay. You're right now, and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
No one can refute you at this particular moment.
Exactly. But I think it's actually more like a year or a year and a half, somewhere in that window. But I have a couple years of experience on them, and plus them not being able to do it for the past couple of years has also influenced it.
Get wrecked, plebes.
And the fact that, and the only other thing I would say that's in my favor is
Get
like
fucked, nerds.
in 2020 I started teaching, and whenever you start teaching something, like your knowledge basis for it just I think exponentially grows.
Well, you have to do it like constantly, you know.
Exactly. And so like I think my knowledge around like the theory and tactics has expanded a lot more, and I think that would give me a little bit more of an edge. That being said, in almost any martial arts scenario, anyone can beat anyone, and depending on the circumstances. Because like there's a saying in the martial arts world is that the most dangerous opponent that a master can have is an amateur practitioner.
Yeah.
Oh, is that one of those like if they do some random shit that you wouldn't be able to predict because like they're not experienced enough to have a technique?
So this kind of goes with the whole entire story of like, sorry to bring back hockey into this, but like goalies hate amateurs because they're so unpredictable.
And
you don't know where the puck is going.
Right, and they don't do what they're supposed to do. So even if it's something that's like going to put them in a disadvantageous position and get them killed, they will do it to get you
because they don't know better.
Right.
And because that's not a good thing to do, you're like, oh, they're never going to do that. That's stupid. And they do it, and you're like, wait, what the fuck just happened?
Right. So you have to be like ready for anything when you're facing something. So like whenever like I'm giving a demonstration in class, if I'm using one of my amateurs for something, I always put my mask on because I'm like I don't trust you enough to.
I don't want to lose an eye.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to lose an eye because even though they suck, I still want to keep them around.
Better than nothing.
I like color.
But wait, but then you could have that cool thing where you casually pop your eye out of your socket around people and watch them squirm.
That is true. And I do like making people feel uncomfortable for my own amusement. Not in a sexual way or anything like that. Just enough.
Listen, what it sounds like to me is we have just laid down the baseline for why you're going to go gouge your eye out tonight.
Exactly.
Now
I gotta do it at work though.
Man, now Elmsword's very imposing wife is going to turn this all down and fucking murder us.
Yep. We here at Lorecast Eternals do not condone the acts of self-harm.
I'm not saying anything because last time I said
Mitchell, you shut the fuck up.
Didn't you guys just
We've
do an
been
episode
down this road with you.
We lost 30 minutes of an episode.
God, have we ever told that story?
No, and we're not going to.
Mitchell doesn't do English good sometimes.
Fair.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
But yeah, no, like, and that's the thing is like I love all of my students, but like it's just like one of those things that like for my safety and the safety of the club continuing, I need to take precautionary measures because like
No,
It's one thing
100%.
to say that you like your students. It's another thing entirely to say that you trust them not to make mistakes.
right, and that's the thing is like I tell them it's like
Yeah.
make mistakes, like please make
Well,
mistakes.
that's the best way to learn. Just
Exactly.
be safe while doing it, so you don't like
Right.
You're not failing, you're not learning.
significantly
I had to-
hinder someone's quality of life.
Right. Like I had to have a discussion with one of them recently. Like they weren't wearing their mask while they were fencing. And I'm like, all right, look, if you want to be here, I love you. You're awesome. You're a good kid.
Put your fucking
But-
mask on.
Put your mask on before I kick your ass. Like, because like I need to make sure that like you are safe. Because that's like the number one thing I tell parents and anyone who starts is that like if you do everything I tell you to do to the letter, you will not get hurt. Because this sport is such a safe martial art. And even if you do get hurt, I have an insurance policy in place, like a literal insurance policy. Not like I'm gonna have someone take you out the back and shoot you like a horse. But like,
Listen, we're gonna go for a nice dinner. I'm gonna fucking shove an ice pick in the back of your neck like it's Goodfellas.
exactly. But like that's the thing.
Forget about it.
We have to be conscious and be safe. And if we're not, like that's when accidents happen.
Well, no, that makes 100% sense. Ironically, that reminds me of a story that my father told me because my dad worked well he's done woodwork his entire life. He makes like deck furniture and also driftwood art and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
my granddad also does that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of equipment that he would use, God, I can't remember. I think it was called like a CVC router or something like that. Basically, it was a machine that has a drill bit that spins real fast, and you put it flat against a piece of wood, and it's how you like carve designs into it and shit. He had this dude. He always had 2 or 3 or 4 people who'd work with him to help him, get out product and whatnot. And there's this one guy who like didn't like wearing a mask whenever he would do the routering and things like that.
Oh, God.
And I was like, hey, you got to put your fucking mask on. And finally, after like a week or 2 of this dude like not getting the message, my dad made him stop like doing work and turn towards him and then just poked him in the eye. And he was like, "Ah, fuck, what the shit?" And like, sitting there like, "What the fuck would you do that?" And my dad goes, "Now imagine that, but it is a like millimeter thin sliver of wood flying into your fucking cornea at Mach Jesus."
Yeah.
And how does that sound to you? And he was like, "Not good." And my dad goes, "Cool, put your fucking mask on."
Yeah.
Which is funny because later that year, that's exactly what happened to me. And let me tell you, it fucking sucked.
Yeah, eye injuries, like I can't even put contacts in. Like
it is misery. Like I
can't even watch my wife put her contacts in because like I just get so squeamish. Like I have to literally like if like we're talking like while she's getting ready, I have to like turn around and not like face her because I literally cannot stand anything going near somebody's eye. But it's just no bueno.
You know what is super wild about eye injuries? Is the retinas. Like the retinas don't have like pain receptors or pain fibers.
Right.
Which is really wild as to how like I think the cornea has them, but your iris but your retina doesn't.
Yeah. It's like crazy.
It's like how your eye how you like process pain in certain areas, and then it kind of goes into the whole like how much to what degree is pain like physical or mental.
Right. Yeah, no, I always thought that was a really, really interesting thing because, like, there was something one of my professors was once talking about is that she had the opportunity to spend some time in Africa and, like, assist in births over there. And she said that, like, when African women give birth versus American women, there's a lot more screaming in the American women, which I thought was very interesting. And, like, culturally over there, like, they don't focus on the pain. Like there's a very like buildup of pain. What's the word I'm going? Focus on the pain buildup going into pregnancy. We have shows about it. We have jokes about it. We have like whole people do comedy specials about it. But over there, they just like focus on like the actual miracle of birth. And then she said that like there's a lot less screaming over there, which I thought was really interesting and like something I'm never going to be able to weigh in on because I will not be able to give birth to a child.
100%. Yeah.
But you can get kicked in the nuts.
Exactly.
We are not.
Would you
going
like to
down-
take the
we are
sacrifice?
not going down this fucking road.
No,
We are
women
not going
have
down this fucking road.
anyone who has ever given birth. I salute you because that is something I will never.
I'm not
experience,
comparing
and
the things. I'm just saying one thing that you can do.
and I will never.
Mitchell over here
ever.
on a completely unrelated note. I can get kicked in the nuts. Just very well what might happen for making that comment.
But yeah, it's just like a very interesting thing I thought that she brought up.
That's cool.
But it's
Yeah.
also the joke that like getting kicked. This again, it's a joke. Not saying that it is worse, but getting kicked in the nuts is worse because no
we
guy
here
wants.
at Lorecast Eternals do not like sanction what Mitchell is about to say nor support it. Please continue.
On today's
Okay.
episode of Digging a
Okay.
Hole.
Okay, like
On
I'm
today's
just-
episode of not knowing when to shut the fuck up.
On this episode of getting canceled.
Fine, I won't say anything. Okay.
No, please
Shut the
listen. For insurance, I've covered our ass. You don't exist to us right now. Please
Yeah,
continue.
like you can just proceed with
Oh,
the
okay.
content generation.
Okay. The old joke goes is that like a guy never wants to get kicked in the nuts again. Women want to give birth again.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I know that joke, and I'm like, that's exactly what he's about to say. And it's like, yeah, you'll never hear a guy say he wants to get kicked in the nuts again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one.
So anyway, back on not sanctioning the shit that Mitchell just said. Fucking Jesus. What were we talking about again? I lost it whenever I saw
Swords. We were talking about
our
swords.
podcast impending doom.
We're
It's
talking about
okay.
swords, and we got way off topic.
You know, you
So
know
I
what's
have
funny?
a question for you, Isaac.
Okay.
Man, sorry, never mind. What have you ever actually had the opportunity to use a flamberge sword?
I have not, but it is on my list of things I want to do. Because it just looks like a ton of fun. The closest thing I have right now in my arsenal would be my hand and a half or my great sticks, which are practice weapons for the great swords, of which a
A
flamberge
flamberge, the ripple sword, right? It has like
Yeah,
all the
a
curves.
flamberge. If I remember correctly, a flamberge is any size of sword, but it's talking about the wavy bits in the blade. We would call it more like almost like serrations today.
Yeah.
All right,
And like
Mr.
I
Smart
would-
Sword Man, what are the waves for?
it's basically just to like kind of throw your opponent off.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
from what I read, the point was that so like if you and I go to cut each other, and I have a sword with a flamberge blade, basically I can just drag that blade down, my blade down your blade, and it causes vibrations in the opponent's handle. And the point being, like, you try to get them to
Yeah,
drop their
uncomfortable
sword from the vibrations.
yeah. So like
Okay.
I've used a flamberge dagger, but I haven't used a flamberge sword. But yeah, it creates more surface area to create friction, like he was saying, and to just kind of either cause the vibrations or cause the opponent's like weapon to slow down while you can get in close and finish him off.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
And then
no,
we get
it's on
into
my
my
list.
favorite classifications of wacky weapons, which is the sword breaker.
Yeah,
I'm a spear guy.
Why does that sound familiar?
because it's like a toothed dagger that you it was really designed to catch an opponent's blade. The
Yeah, they
actual
call them breakers, but
It's
Yeah.
like the back of the blade has like a bunch of really deep like pits, so you can you can block with it and then like tear the sword out of their grasp.
Yeah, specifically it was made like to combat rapiers and like thinner swords, because like the heavier Middle Ages weapons would probably be able to just chunk out those pieces of metal over time. But
not to mention those chunkier swords. There's so much mass behind them. You're more
Oh, yeah.
likely to shatter the sword breaker than you are to
yeah, or the hand that is holding it.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just a lot of force there.
Oh look, my wrist, it's been destroyed.
But yeah, no, it's a really cool little piece of history. I haven't had the opportunity to use one, but the theory and technique behind it is really interesting to me, because like the whole idea of using a dagger was to arrest the other person's blade while you came in with your own, and that whole series of techniques is really interesting and really makes you think, because you got to use both your hands independently of one another, and it goes like hand in hand with not, no pun intended, with like buckler and shield fighting, which is also a lot of fun.
And then, so Cirrus, in Dark Souls, how, especially in like Dark Souls 1, they had like the parry dagger.
Yes.
Yeah, so the whole point of a sword breaker is you use it kind of in a similar way to you would use the parry dagger in Dark Souls, in the sense of like you're using it to open up your opponent for a counterattack.
Yeah, you're just going to give yourself just enough of an opening that you can just slip in there and slice him up good.
Do you want a little bit of a Total War Warhammer, like fun little tidbits that is also kind of in tune with what we're currently talking about?
Hell yeah.
I don't think it's like this anymore, but I'm pretty sure in Total War Warhammer 1, the Empire Greatsword units,
Mm-hmm.
they had their swords were flamberged.
Yeah.
And now they no longer are.
Yeah, I know. I was really sad about that.
Also, in 1, their swords used to be fucking flaming, but like we can't have cool shit.
Yeah.
No, we never can.
Yeah. Although I heard apparently they're introducing Voltan as a hero in 3.
Oh.
I heard a rumor.
Well. On that, the next big DLC is gonna be DLC like package, because we had the fucking Winds of Change, whatever the fuck it was called, where we got the Changeling, UN Bow, and we got those two. The next big pack coming out, we are getting a rework of the Dwarven Empires, the Empire, and the Nurgle faction.
Ooh, yeah, Nurgle needs
so help. Because like playing the Empire in Total War 3 is like, while I love it because I am a simp for the Empire, it's fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you already know what's gonna happen, then you can build correctly. But past that,
it's fucking misery.
Don't kill me. I've never played the Empire in Total War.
No, that's fine. You're saving yourself a lot of heartache. The problem is I got a Total War Warhammer when 1 was out, and then I played 2 and 2 came out, and then I played 3 and 3 came out. So like when I first started, we only had the dwarves, the Empire, the vampires, the orcs, and then we got Bretonnia and later and things like that. But like I've always sent for the Empire, but like playing it in 3 is fucking miserable because their units just don't stack up. The only real way you can be viable with the Empire, if I remember correctly, is like play Beagelt and Doomstack artillery and then have Beagelt cast dumb shit metal magic for 1 fucking wind, or play Karl Franz and just kind of basically do the same thing.
Yeah. Fun fact, you guys are the reason that I actually started looking into Empire lore, because you guys were simping for Beagelt so hard in the early episodes that I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like,
bro, Beagelt is the man.
He really is the man.
Oh no.
Then
like I said, I started with like,
fucking Manfred.
Fuck Manfred.
No. Cetra.
Fuck Manfred.
Cetra be the bay.
Listen, man. You know what Cetra doesn't do?
Serve.
There you go. I was testing Mitchell.
Have you guys ever checked out Cody Bonds and like his how to play?
Yes. I watch him pretty consistently.
I think he did a Cetra one where he like had all of Cetra's titles.
Yeah, and there's like 900 of them.
Yeah. I love his stuff.
Listen, we have Khaleesi in Game of Thrones, who's like the breaker of chains and yada yada yada, but like she's just Cetra light.
The only thing I have about Cetra, the only thing I have against Cetra is that he sacrificed his kids. That's the only thing I have about that's the only thing I have against Cetra. But
like
that's pretty typical
fantasy,
for a leader, though.
In fantasy, kind of everyone sucks. So
which actually, like, given like his thing, like a lot of like this is my Bible nerd coming out, so apologies, but like a lot of those civilizations in that time, you would sacrifice your firstborn child to the gods, which I thought was a very nice nod to that kind of ancient culture, because you were like, that's why like the story of like Isaac and Abraham, it was very normal for your firstborn child with your spouse to be sacrificed to the gods as a thank you for the prosperity, with the expectation that more would come if you did the sacrifice. with the exception in the Hebrew story is that God intervenes, is like, no, this life is precious to me. I want him to grow up and live.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which I always thought was really interesting. So Bible nerd coming in.
No, you're good. No, not a problem. But yeah, no, I just remember that fucking Warhammer Total War thing, and I was like, wait a minute, we were just talking about that, and I thought that was pretty cool. Real quick before we get to the next topic, I'm gonna backtrack pretty heavily, real quick, back to when we were talking about like
next topic. Oh my god,
fencing techniques.
We're almost reaching 2 hours.
Shut up, Mitchell.
Hey,
when you
I gotta go get ready for bed soon.
When you said like Italian is more aggressive and French is a lot more mental, where you're trying to lure your opponent into a trap and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since you said that, in my mind, I just see like two French style fencers like facing each other, and it's like the anime scene where they're playing the battle out in their mind for 15 seconds, and everyone stands still. And then it's like one strike, and then one guy just falls over dead.
Yeah, that's pretty similar.
That's how I see it. Like that is just my headcanon for French techniques. For
that's pretty similar. Like there's a little bit of action, like of like you guys like kind of probing each other and like trying to figure out each other's defenses and that kind of thing. But I would say that like my personal style right now is a very heavy blend, like 60 to 65% Italian with like a 35 to 40% French. Just because I see their strengths in both. I definitely still lean more towards the Italian just because that's what I grew up doing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right.
But French is a lot more common in the States, just because there was a very heavy French influence post Revolutionary War and that kind of thing. So it's kind of had a little bit more time to prosper. But yeah, no, I would say like they definitely both are they're different flavors of the same soda. Does that make sense? It's like
I got you. No, I got
you. You ever go to
like
one of those like Coke machines and you can get like Coke or cherry Coke or that kind of like.
Listen, I'm probably gonna catch a whole lot of flack for this, but also like fuck it. One's Coke, one's Pepsi. They're basically the same, but like not exactly.
Yeah, they're both the dark colored.
You're almost dead to me actually by saying that.
Well, I'm sorry that Pepsi is trash, Mitchell, but that this is how I live my life.
No, Mitchell just wanted you to mention RC Cola.
There we go.
Listen, I didn't mention RC Cola because I like RC Cola.
Okay. At least
but I actually like Pepsi. Hold on.
Yeah,
I actually like Pepsi. I'm one of 5 people in the state of Texas who will actually willingly drink Pepsi. Come on now.
Okay,
Pepsi's really not that bad.
It's not that I hate Pepsi. It's just shittier Coke. Like I drink Coke and Coke's fine, which makes Pepsi is like slightly less than fine. So like it's still fine to drink, but like why not just have Coke?
Yeah,
but that's what I mean though. Is I actually prefer I prefer Pepsi over Coke.
And that's totally fine. That is your opinion. It's wrong, but
Wow.
That's the beauty of America.
It's funny. When I was a kid, I preferred Pepsi over Coke, and then it just changed for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I've unfortunately started losing because I just like my wife and I have been like really trying to eat healthier and drink healthier in the last couple of years, and like I had soda for the first time in like 8 months, like a couple weeks ago, and like my gut basically tried to stab me in the face.
Was your body like drinking soda for the first 8 months? Your stomach? Absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, no, I was, and the worst part was like at a work thing too. So like,
oh god,
yeah, we had just like gotten done like with this big training, and like I was running a little low on energy, so I'm like, yeah, I'll have some caffeine, and yeah, no, my gut was not happy for like the next 3 days. I'm like, well, I can't drink soda anymore.
Like, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah, like I can have.
Do you think it was the sweetness or like the angriness of the liquid?
I think it was just like the corn syrup, because like we've pretty much cut out a lot of corn syrup and a lot of like preservatives and that kind of thing. I think it's just the overload just shocked my system and was like, no.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, because
that was like my 5th grade math teacher. He was very much, or he told us a few times that like, oh yeah, I don't eat McDonald's and things like that. Just like get a rise out of us kids, because a bunch of us were like, McDonald's is the greatest thing ever, because this was 5th grade.
Yeah,
the pinnacle of cuisine.
And then one day he came in and he was like, all right guys, So I had McDonald's for lunch. We were like, ooh, and he was like, yeah, don't look. I had McDonald's for lunch because I really wanted the food and it was close. But also, I shouldn't have had McDonald's. And if I
Yeah.
make a run for the door, get out of my way.
Yeah. No, I can't.
I am about to shit.
The only fast food I can eat right now is like Chick-fil-A and like maybe like a sub place or something like that. But I can't.
Oh man, Jersey
I
Mike
can't
yesterday.
do. Yes, yeah. I love Jersey Mike's.
Had the
Oh
portobello.
yes.
I had the
Oh,
portobello
yes.
Philly for the first time, bruh. Shit was
Hashtag
delicious.
not sponsored. But
If we could get sponsored by
It's
Jersey
not,
Mike's,
but if they want it, like I'll take it. Shit.
Yeah.
yeah, no, I love Jersey Mike's. Like they're just good. And now it does come down to location, like the franchise owner and that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's generally I have not had a bad experience so far.
Every time I go to Subway, I'm just like, I've seen what you could be, and now I am filled with
Yeah.
nothing but disappointment and contempt.
hey,
Yeah,
but Subway is perfect trash sandwiches, and I love it.
yeah. No, I my first job out of college, I survived on Burger King and Subway because it was like a driving job for a medical company, and I survived.
Right, that's
on
something I'm
Subway.
going to be doing pretty soon
Man,
here.
man, you add in Taco Bell, and you have the trifecta of Phil's fast food preferences.
Dude, Taco Bell, Burger King, Subway. Like,
Okay, Burger
those are
King
my
Holy
three favorite
Trinity.
fast food joints.
The Holy Trinity.
Burger King
Triforce.
has been stepping up their game recently, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, they really have been. I'm fucking down for some Burger King. It's funny because there was one night where I was talking to Jacob and I was like, "Oh man, I'm really craving a burger." And this was before P. Terry's came to town, and he was like, "We could go to Whataburger," and I was like, "No. I want like a burger, not like a specialty burger." And he
Right.
was like, "Well, there's McDonald's," and I was like, "Motherfucker, did you really just pass up fucking Burger King?"
Listen, I don't eat a Burger King. Nothing against it. I've just like the majority of my life, I've never lived near a Burger King, so I just forget it fucking exists. And also, I have a very heavy preference towards a mustard burger over a mayonnaise burger. Like I like them both, but
I'm sorry.
I enjoy mustard
but
burger.
you're
and that's
allowed to
what
have your wrong opinion.
and that's what Whataburger serves. So if I'm just craving a shitty fast food burger, I'm like Whataburger.
Yeah, and that's my thing is that I do not like mustard burgers. I find mustard burgers to be the inferior burger.
I like mustard on my burger, but I want mayo first. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and that's fine.
Or-
I
or-
understand that mayo is the traditional, but like sometimes I can just really get down with the mustard burger.
Or I was introduced to this in college. Blue cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blue cheese
no,
dressing
Phil's
on a sandwich.
fucking ruined it for me. I can never have blue cheese on a burger ever because
Why?
of Philip.
Let's not go into that.
Because when Philip lived with me, he decided to blow chunks on my fucking carpet.
It was my carpet too, motherfucker.
An hour after we had fucking eaten Whataburger, and it was atrocious. And you know what he had? I'll give you one fucking guess.
Did it rhyme with blue and end with cheese?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had a blue cheeseburger from Whataburger, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the burger or something else. No, stay out, cat. I don't know if it was the burger or something else, but something disagreed with me. But yeah, we had dinner, and I woke up like so we had dinner. I went to sleep. I woke up like an hour later, and I was like, "Oh my god, I am going to vomit!" And I like opened my door, and like I'm running down the hallway to get to the bathroom. My stomach's like too late.
He opened
My stomach's
the door.
like, "Oh my womo, shinderu."
You could see the panic on his face, and me and James were like, "Oh no!" And then it just fucking fucking.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's one time in college. Well, there's two really bad sicknesses when I was in college. One I was patient zero for.
Oh fuck!
That was a fun story, which I'll tell next if you guys want to hear it. But the first one was this really really bad norovirus that knocked out 90% of our dorm, and
I'm assuming you don't mean they died.
no, they didn't die.
Okay.
But like it was like so violently ill that my roommate was
wish they were
literally
dead.
puking through his eyes.
Wait, he was what?
Puking through his eyes. It was coming out of every orifice except his ears.
Oh
Oh,
my god.
Oh,
which leads me into the next story. If you guys want to hear it, if you're not disgusted.
I'm a little
God.
curious.
no, man. Morbidly curious. Please
So
continue.
this happened my freshman year. Fast forward to my senior year. All right, halfway through my college career, we changed food service providers.
Oh,
We were a
God.
pretty small. We were a pretty small school. We were, I think, while I was there, about 1,000 students. Hashtag Go Highlanders. And
Represent.
exactly. If anyone's looking for a good school, Houghton University. I'm shouting them out. But this is not a reflection of the school. This is a reflection of the food service provider at the time. I'm not going to say their name for legal reasons.
Go to this college. So while I was deathly ill at this college.
So my roommate was also my manager in the dining hall. So I worked front of house and dish room while I was there because, broke college student. And he's like, "Hey, do you want to pick up any hours on Friday? I know you're not doing anything because I'm your roommate, and and you have no life." So I was like, "Yeah, I want more money." So I showed up, and he's like, "All right, cool. Show up at 8 o'clock at night, and I think it's a banquet or something for the trustees of the board of trustees for the college." I'm like, "Cool, I can do that. It'll be just a few dishes, a couple hours of easy work, whatever."
Yeah, no
So I
biggie,
show
right?
up. Yeah, I show up.
That's how
and
it
he's
starts.
like,
This will
yeah,
be fine and easy and not problematic at all.
exactly. And so he meets me at the door at the beginning of the shift. He's like, "Please don't shoot me." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean don't shoot you?" He's like, "We're deep cleaning the dish room." I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." So it was me, him, two other student workers, and like our actual supervisor from the company, who was, I will say, like the adult, you know what I mean? Like when you go to college,
Yeah, I
there's
know what
like
you mean. I know
college
what
Yeah,
you
kids
mean.
and then
they were the adultier adults.
yes, exactly. Married, had kids in high school, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
So we all get to cleaning. And so the way our dish room was set up, it was basically a square. And there would be a conveyor belt that brought dishes in, and you would take the dishes, rinse them in a trough, and then put them on another conveyor belt, which would take them to an industrial dishwasher, which could, I think, wash, close to like 300 to 400 dishes in 1 minute. It was an insane piece of tech. It was also like the length of I don't even have a good description of it. It was like basically the short bus length. If you've ever seen like
Oh,
a
wow.
short
Okay. Yeah.
it was cute. It was like from like the early like 60s. It was just a tanker of a machine and just heated the water up to near scalding and would just to kill any bacteria on the plates. So we get to scrubbing, and these conveyor belts are what me and one of the other student workers get started on, while my roommate gets started cleaning out the dishwasher. And we turn these conveyor belts over, and they're like a light gray color, and we turn them over, and they're just black, just solid black.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So we're like, well, shit. And the adult
This
worker
bodes ill.
and the one of the other student workers start like power washing the walls, and that were like a light yellow. Well, it turns out they were like more of a deep gold color, and that was just so much stuff that was like caked on there because
Yeah.
this food service provider had not cleaned the dish room since they took over.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeesh.
it was not good. There was like a whole. We'll get to everything. The college actually handled the whole incident really well. And made sure that everyone was taken care of from this. But my roommate got the short end of the stick because he was like, "Well, I conscripted y'all here, so I'm gonna take the worst of it." And I thank him to this day for that. And he opens up this dishwasher, and he's just pulling out mounds and mounds of bacteria and mold and disgustingness. It was the gross. I'm not gonna go into full detail because it literally makes me sick to this day thinking about it.
I mean, Jesus, do you think something like that would be grounds for like a fucking lawsuit or something? Because that's bad.
We're getting to that.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So what ended up was supposed to be a 2-hour job.
You
Ended
light a
up
candle for
being,
the story.
ended up being a 4-hour cleanup job. And we got out of there. We were tired. Our boss like thanked us profusely and said that I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, and heads are gonna roll because like there's no reason that this should be this dirty. And so we went back to our dorm. Everything was great. Fast forward to 2 weeks later, our friend group starts getting sick. and it's like violently ill, very reminiscent of that the sickness that I had told you guys about earlier, where he was puking through his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, I gotta ask, how
Yeah.
to what degree of bullshit is there when you say he's puking through his eyes?
it wasn't like it wasn't like, think like crying and like tears are like a brown color. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
Gotcha.
Remember, Jacob, the sinuses and everything are interconnected.
No,
so
yeah,
like,
I know. I understand how it would happen. I was wondering to like what degree.
Or like, I mean, you know when you wake up in the morning, you have like eye crusties.
Yeah, it's urine. Or it's like
And
kind of it's kind of
just,
ish urine.
imagine those just like being like cranked out like early 2000s like spaghetti Play-Doh style.
oh,
Yeah. that's probably
that's fucking awful.
yeah. And so our friend group starts getting sick, and when I went to college, I made it my mission. Like, I was a very quiet guy in high school. It was like, I want to be that guy that everyone knows. And so I was that guy in college, because like I was like, I want to
did
be.
you fucking black plague your entire dorm?
I black plagued the entire campus.
Bro, you're
Bro,
the
Out of-
reason why
true.
America got shut down.
True disciple of Nurgle here.
So, but that's the best part. I never got sick. I never got sick. My roommate never got sick, and the two other student workers and our boss never got sick. And so what ended up happening is out of 1,500 students and staff, 1,350 people got sick.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Jesus.
The CDC shut the campus down for 2 weeks because they're like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, yeah, I can't fucking blame them.
And there was an investigation, and it was basically because the change happened right after that first sickness had went through the campus, and bacteria or germs or something, whatever it was based out of, I don't know if it was viral or bacterial. I'm leaning towards bacterial. Was residing in the dishwasher, buried under the mold, and when we cleaned it and we were scraping and power washing, we disturbed it, became incubators, and spread it across the entire student body.
Jesus
See,
Christ.
that's what I'm saying. Is that you don't seem to understand. Is like you were blessed by Nurgle to withstand the sickness. That's what it is.
But the college handled it very, very well. The people who needed to be disciplined were disciplined, and they made sure that like it gets like they assigned a campus personnel to like actually make sure that it got cleaned on a daily, and then like a more in-depth cleaning on a weekly basis to make sure it never happened again. Because it was like the college took it as like a personal affront to their image.
Well, yeah, because that's
they're
fucking
actually
garbage. They would give you equipment and shit that'd be that fucking disgusting.
right, and that's the thing, is they felt horrible, and like the college like made sure that like it was a college, then it's a university now, I should say. But it's a very good school, and they pride themselves on maintaining their image. And they make sure that like every student knows that they're valued, and they felt horrible that we were exposed to that, and so they made sure that we were taken care of, and we were not dead, basically. But yeah, that's the only horror story I have from school. Like every other story I have from school is like just exceptional people. Exceptional.
You know what? I think that story was enough, because that sounded pretty fucking awful.
Yeah, it's one of my top 2 college stories. The other one is how I almost accidentally jumped off a 3rd-story balcony.
Well, I know that.
I think that's probably going to be a story for another time.
I was gonna say.
Listen, Mitchell's jonesing to get off because he needs to go to sleep. So in the spirit of that, let's do one more story.
Okay, so it's a quick one, I promise. So we had a campus nerd club while I was there, and I love you, Mitchell.
It's okay. You made me save money on paint. It's fine.
I'm doing this for the paint. God damn it.
We had a saying in college: "Sleep is for the weak," and depending on your mood, it was spelled differently. Yes, we had a college nerf club, and we actually had it was one of the bigger clubs on campus. Like at one time, I think our numbers were like up to 200 participating people, which is really good for a student body of 1,000. Like it was almost like 20% of the student body was involved in this club.
And what kind of club was it
nice.
again?
Sorry, a Nerf club. A
Nerf club. Oh,
Yeah.
nice, gotcha.
Yeah, so we would just take over. We had a 4-story academic building that we just took over every Saturday night, and for 3 hours we would just run around blasting each other with Nerf guns and whacking each other with Nerf swords. It was awesome.
I did something like that in college too. That shit was always fun as shit.
Yeah, I honestly miss it. It was such good exercise because you were just constantly moving for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But so for my senior and junior year, I was the VP of the club, and so naturally that paints a target on your back. But also, like whenever you have newbies, you kind of show them the ropes and that kind of thing. And so we'd always end of the night with something called Apocalypse. That's the game mode that we would play. So the rules of the game is you could shoot anybody, and they would have to sit down. While there was also 2 people who started off as zombies, and every time they tagged a person, they would have to go down to the bottom of the building, tag the front doors, and they would also become zombies. The game ended when we hit our deadline, which was 11 o'clock at night, or everyone was a zombie. So we were getting down there, and I was leading this little, and most people would ally up because, you want to try and be the last person standing. And we had this one group of people. We were running low on ammo. We were holding the 3rd floor atrium. It was also built in an atrium. I should probably mention that detail. We had an atrium in the middle of the building.
What happens if a zombie died?
They would just go back downstairs and respawn.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, zombies would just keep coming. So they would coordinate their efforts, so they would all go together. You would start
one
the game
gigantic push.
Exactly, and you would start the game off with you would have to clear the building of the original 2 zombies because they would get 2 minutes to go hide somewhere in the building. Just to give them a fighting chance, because it'd be 2 versus 85 people at that point in the night.
Gotcha.
But once you get 3 or 4 or 5 people, once that ball started getting rolling, it was game over.
It just sounds like fucking Halo Reach Infection, but in real life.
Yeah, basically.
And that's fun as shit.
The nice thing is the whole building was kind of built kind of like a giant lollipop with an atrium in the circle of the lollipop, with a walkway around, and you could see to the bottom floors from that walkway. So the strat was to kind of hold that atrium, and you would be able to cover from the higher floors from the bottom up. So you would kind of put your melee people down below and your snipers up top to kind of give yourselves the best chance you possibly could. And so I had a group of newbies, and me and the president, we had one side of the 3rd story that we were each defending. And so there's 2 staircases coming up on one side and one central staircase in the middle of the lollipop. And then all the way down at the end of the stick of the lollipop, there was another staircase. So we were each defending one of the entryways of the sides of the lollipop, and we see the 2nd floor just get annihilated. I'm like, well, shit. And we hear them coming, and they just by chance happen to go on my buddy's side of the room, and they just annihilate that side of the room. I'm like, well, we're about to get overrun because they're all grouping up down below. We're going to try and do a switcheroo, and I'll hold the one end of the long hallway while you guys run down and try and get to the 2nd floor. I'll hold them off. It'll be fine. So we can hear them massing coming up all 3 of the stairwells in front of us, and I just send all the freshmen down the hallway. And I'm sitting there, I'm out of ammo, I have just my sword left, and I'm like, well, this will be fun. And I look back as I hear the back door open, and I just see a hand just kind of come out and tag each and every single one of my newbies as they go down the thing. I'm like, well, shit. I'm the last guy standing, so I back up fuck. Yeah, I basically back up to the end of the hallway, and I see my buddy, who's the president of the club, kind of standing at the end and kind of getting a whole group of things, because I'm the sword dude. They know I'm going to take a few of them with them, not to hype myself up a bit. And so I'm like, well,
not to toot my horn too much, but
that's one of the only times you'll ever hear me.
Isaac, shoot the shit out of that horn, my friend.
I can usually take a fairly large group. Slash get out of here with that of individuals, or sexual innuendos. But I start just, my friend's down there. He's the president. I'm the vice president. I've got like 5 minutes to survive. I'm not going to make it. I might as well just take him out. And so I just start sprinting full tilt down this hallway as fast as I can and screaming his name at the top of my lungs. And instead of like him meeting me in the middle like I thought he was, him as well as the entire body there just moves. Just moves. And I go sprinting forward, slamming into the balcony and pitching myself over till my body was basically planking, if you guys remember what that was.
Yeah.
On top of the railing as the two of the guys who were playing the zombies just slammed down on my back. I had whipped over so hard that my glasses came flying off my face. And I would wear like one of those like rope attachment things on my glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That like kind of secures it for like whitewater rafting, if you've ever done that.
Yeah.
Flying off, and they fell 3 stories. Somehow they landed on the couch and didn't break. But I was basically like sitting there teetering on the edge of this balcony for a solid 10 seconds, and you could hear a pin drop in the entire building. And while the guys like got me righted back up, and then the president of the club just like, was like, you could see, like, I just turned around and he was just stark white, and he was like, "What the fuck were you doing?" And just started laying into me for a solid like 15 minutes while I just laughed my head off from like, the euphoria of not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hit that adrenaline dump, and then your body was like, "Oh, hey, look, we're not dying today."
Yep. And that's the time that I almost died in college, which was ironically not predicated by the fact that I would also make a habit of jumping into a pond that was frozen for fun in the middle of New York winter.
Something I would do.
No, I kind of get that. I've wintered in Michigan a couple times.
Yeah, it's an experience. Like if anyone has not dove into a frozen body of water, I highly recommend it just for the educational experience.
Everyone should feel their testicles shoot inside their body with such force you can feel it in your chest.
Yes, agreed. But
alrighty then.
Almost death. I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
That's my first and second best college stories. So,
well, hey, thank you so much for coming on and doing a little interview and just chilling with us, having a good time.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolute blast. Well, hey, no, you earned it. You earned it, bud. Like you
objectively.
Shut the fuck up and take the compliment.
I appreciate it, but I'm gonna take the liberty of speaking like for the rest of the Discord. I just want to thank you guys for like actually like starting this whole shindig, because like I know personally for me, like throughout the last couple of years, they've been really rough for me as a person. Like career-wise, I'm not where I want to be, other than starting my own fencing school. That part's been great, but like career-wise, I'm not where I want to be, and there's been some really, really rough days. And like whenever I have one of those really rough days, I just throw your guys' podcast on, and I know there's a lot of people in the Discord that are in that same boat, and I just want to thank you guys for pumping out the content, because it really does make my life and like a lot of other people's lives a little bit lighter, because you guys are doing this. So I'm gonna take the liberty of talking for everyone else in the Discord, so y'all can shoot me later if you want, but I just wanted to say that too before we ended.
Hold on, give me a second.
I'm gonna cry now.
I'm trying not to fucking cry now.
Pardon me, I have to go. I have to go find my favorite bottle of whiskey to go pour one out.
Why you be cutting onions, mister?
I think I have some cigarettes left to go contemplate my life choices while like crying my fucking eyes out.
Hey, if something my dad once said is, if you're ever public speaking, you gotta make them laugh, you gotta make them think, and you gotta make them cry, and that's when you know when you did something good. So
that is pretty good advice, actually. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, like we've always said, we enjoy doing this, and every time we hear someone say like, "Hey, we got them into AOS," or they listen to us because we make them laugh and they're having a hard time and whatnot, that always means a lot to us. And that's why we do it, to just
honestly, every time I think about that, I think about that line from Eminem's Rap God, where he's talking about if I can make some rhymes to get some people through tough times.
Yeah. No, that's pretty. That's That's good.
Not that I am nearly as successful as or influential as Eminem. But
What, Mitchell?
it always
No,
just
you're
reminds me of that.
Nah, Hunter.
You're working on it.
Talking about?
We're getting there.
Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere.
Look,
But,
I mean, we're already international, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
how long-
Mr.
how long-
Worldwides.
How long did it take you guys to go international? Like 2
Not-
episodes or something like
Yeah,
that?
basically.
This is
Yeah, it
episode
was-
one,
To be
actually.
fair, it was like one motherfucker in England for a while, and then it branched out heavier.
Oh, we need to check on Matt, see if he's doing okay.
But yeah, no, like I'm going to take the liberty and speak for the other two chuckle fucks here and say we appreciate you saying that, and we're couldn't be more happier with how the podcast is going and with everyone coming in and listening and just having an overall good time and whatnot, and that really makes our days. It butters our parsnips, so to say.
Yep.
And we just look forward to doing more fun, crazy shit.
Butter my parsnips.
It butters our parsnips, yes.
Yeah,
Is that-
butters our
is that-
biscuits, I guess.
I was gonna say I've heard that one. I haven't heard the parsnips one.
But it always makes us feel good to hear that kind of stuff, and we appreciate you saying it, and we appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and talk about
Chat
random
with us.
bullshit and just chat.
It's one of my favorite quotes that I made up is that I love to be an enigma wrapped in irony and delivered with a hint of sarcasm. So you guys kind of embody that, and I like that a lot about you guys.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I was gonna say I like that's like my favorite quote that I think I've made up. I don't think I stole it from somebody else, so hopefully I haven't.
Well,
but
like we said earlier in this episode, there's no one here to refute your facts, so
Fair.
we're just gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap it up. Once again, thank you so much, Elmsword /Isaac /Swordman, and I
just did the salute thing, so that I forgot that we're not on video because I'm a dumbass.
No, we've accepted the fact that we're gonna do shit that people can't see, and like they're just gonna have to be guessing. Like that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
But no, I appreciate you guys.
But we will see everyone in 3 weeks. We're like and this being on a Monday just because we're working with everyone's schedule and whatnot. So we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Technically we don't have to upload it today because 3 weeks would be this weekend.
I mean, that's gonna be up to Felipe. I do believe he is the one who
that'll
does the
be up
editing.
to whether or not I remember to fucking do this shit.
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say. It's like regardless of when this episode gets uploaded, unless Philip super fucks up and like takes a week to do it, we will see you all in 3 weeks on the Saturday, not the Monday. So just because we normally do our episode on Saturday, so we'll see you in like 3 and like almost 4 weeks, technically.
Yeah.
If it gets released tonight, if not, then like fuck it, you know what I mean.
Yeah, big reason why it didn't happen this weekend is because I'm going to Minnesota.
Yeah, Mitchell has a life and it's disgusting and it really fucks up our plans.
I know. I'm literally
How
the
dare.
worst.
You inconsiderate fuck.
I was busy this weekend or this past
hold on.
weekend.
Hold
I'll
on.
be busy. Oh,
Before you get to your excuses, Mitchell, Elmsword is the guest, so he should get to shame you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have no
go ahead.
excuses because I have a very busy life at the moment. So like I think trying to like configure with Jacob like just time slots that I was also available. I felt horrible because like I was like I think I accidentally ducked his call for like the first like when we had that first conversation to like actually like I felt horrible. I was literally just dicking around in Warhammer 3, like waiting for his call. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy? And then I'm like, go into my Discord, and there's like 3 missed calls from Jacob. I'm like, oh fuck my nuts.
I was sitting there just like, dude, just like playing elevator music in my head, like we'll get there eventually.
I felt horrible, so I have no room to talk. Because I'm also I have a very very poor perception of time, and I feel bad for my wife because I keep I completely forgot to mention to her that like we rescheduled the podcast episode for tonight, so like I'm locking up the store, which was like 6 my time, and like I think we were doing sound checks at like 7 my time. I was like, oh, by the way, and I know it takes me half an hour to drive home, but I had that podcast interview tonight, and she's like, oh. Thanks.
Well done. Thanks, Dick.
Yeah, exactly.
What about our dinner plans?
Yeah, no, I feel horrible for our kids because like our kids are gonna think that like we have an incredibly like verbally abusive relationship because like we work swear words into our pet names for each other all the time. Like I think One of the ones she hit me with a few, like when we first started dating, was like, "You fucking bitch," and like she said it with like a lot of love, and it was because I was basically like smothering her with love at the time, and it was definitely well deserved. But like we just swear at each other a lot, but it's all with love. It's like when you drop the swear words, that's when there's like cause for concern.
Oh no, I get it. The majority of how me and Jess show affection toward each other is by just saying like, "Hey, you're stupid, but at least you're pretty." So like, I get it.
And I think I saw a meme that's like long-term relationships and marriage is just basically you each acting like a little goblin gremlin to each other and then scuttling off while planning your revenge for the next heist as you or the next retaliation, I should say, against your partner.
I would say that's pretty fucking apt. That's
Yeah.
Well,
and something. Oh, I probably should stop talking.
No, you're good. Just I know I can like feel Mitchell's blood pressure rising right now.
I know. I'm trying to stretch it another 8 minutes so we can get that 2.5 hour mark. But I also slightly to annoy Mitchell.
I could just leave.
Mitchell internally fucking screaming.
I could just leave. This is the great part about doing it online.
No, we're good. Listen, Mitchell, listen. Mitchell's work fucks him enough. Let's cut him some slack. Phil, he was supposed to go back into work today after the interview.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I have a lot to do. I'm just gonna get up at like 5:30 and be at work at 6 instead.
So yeah,
it's a little bit better because you guys are an hour behind me, but I could not imagine getting up at 5 right now.
Yeah,
so like just work from a 6 to like I guess 6. Work a 12-hour work day with no lunch. Maybe no for lunch. I need to go register my car. It still says 12:22.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Well, yeah. Let's show Mitchell the consideration that he doesn't show the Silent King and let him out of the box. And
or Nagash.
Actually, no, we brought Nagash.
I was gonna say.
All right.
Yet?
Thank you very much, Isaac, for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for having me. Hopefully, I didn't make too many forced jokes. And
no, you're good. You're an absolute joy, my guy.
Yeah,
absolute joy.
That, guys. I appreciate that.
Honestly, we might have you on more just because you're cool to hang out with.
Oh, yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take screen time away from people who actually know what they're talking about, like Ozzy, because that man knows his shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows a lot. Yeah, that's the fucking truth. All right, well. Thanks for coming on. This is the end. Mitchell, you're good. We'll stop now. We'll see all you. We see all you beautiful people in 3 weeks. Kind of. You know what the fuck I mean. Peace out.
Okay. Bye.
See y'all later.